unease and uncertainty into the market. This would mean a week of uncertainty and volatility for the oil market, she added. That's the Newswire. I'm Edwin Lisamira.
.5 Spice FM, Kisumu. Broadcasting worldwide, Spice FM. Online, mobile, and on radio. Instagram at SpiceFM KE.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
Every time he kept on saying he wants a vibrant opposition.
How does it make sense that public money has been used already and then they dare to sell it back to you? Why are they not giving them for free?
That's how broken we are. That's how broken we are.
They're being sent home now for fees. They're going to fail to prepare. We are compromising the futures of these children.
This is the Situation Room. The only way to start your day.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
Parliament has got powers. Let me break it down. The National Assembly can initiate an impeachment of the president.
This same
and the
National
Senate,
Assembly.
Yes. That's our constitution.
This is just a continuation of the previous administration, which Ruto was part of. President Uhuru himself openly said that we're losing 2 billion daily. Daily. I mean, come on. Are you saying that we don't have a central bank?
If we look at Kenya, both public-private sector, that figure is ranging between 30 to 40%, right?
I think it's clear that the government of Kenya is living beyond its means.
This is the Situation Room. The only way to start your day.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
Baba should disown these experts and say they went there on the, because he keep on telling us that these experts you came from Dubai and you found them there already at State House looking for jobs.
Government has to has to introduce austerity measures. It's something that this government and the previous ones have not been able to do in this country. We've talked about it so many times.
And really, I think you have seen the modus operandi of William Samoei Ruto since he came in. It's just showbiz.
This is the Situation Room. The only way to start your day.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
Members of parliament, they go to State House, they just promised they get given tea, mandazi, and 100,000. That's not development.
External borrowing, 589 billion. Are we on the same page? What did Parliament pass?
If anything happened to our president today, God forbid, that man would become president. Na ndio alilenga hizo stories za Shakahola.
The real thing is our constitution has only one person who is accountable to us.
This is the Situation Room. The only way to start your day.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
I am also a publicly elected official.
Okay.
My salary is paid by your taxes.
Yes.
So if you need me to answer questions, we will not run away from you.
Asante
We will
sana.
always be here.
The government itself is engaging in corrupt practices. That the government itself deliberately schemes to influence through bribery members of parliament.
You pay for a passport online. Alafu you're told there are no booklets.
I rebuke matters corruption because corruption has brought this country to its knees.
This is the Situation Room. The only way to start your day.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
SRC's mandate is constitutional. It's not an advice. It's actually something you must do.
Like now, you abandon, of course, the narrative of wheelbarrow, Mutomjengo, Mamamboga, and all those, that rosy narrative.
Your expenditure is 3.3 trillion, and you're collecting only 2.5. Out of that 2.5, you're spending 1.8 trillion service loans and so forth.
That the CDF kit, it's in itself a symptom of corruption.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on SpiceFM.
Presidency is fairly interesting in the sense that it will actually take us to a new consciousness.
Swali zile watu hawaulizi na swali muuliza na shangala ni aje kwani huku kunaendaje?
30 billion shillings annually on travel alone in public service.
A Kenyan can even demonstrate every single day of his life that Ruto must go. That is the only message of his demonstration. That is his right.
That bribe blinds the eyes of the wise and subverts the cause of those who are in the right.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Good morning. It's 11 minutes after 6 o'clock and it's Monday. It's the 15th of June, smack dab in the middle of the month. And you thought that this day would not come, but voila, here it is. A very good morning to you, Aseto.
Morning. How are you?
I'm okay.
Kofiti?
Niko salama.
Yeah. Karibu.
Sheesh, okay. How are you this morning?
I'm well.
You have a piece of lint in your hair and it's bothering me.
Why?
We're not going to be able to to the
Tell me where it is.
To the left.
To the left?
Up. Apo. No, bado.
Let me just open my mirror.
It's
mirror on the wall.
Mirror on the wall. Who's the fairest of them all?
Najua itakusumbua sana, but let's see.
Inanisumbua sana. Sana.
Let's see.
Unaiona?
There's a lint.
Yes, exactly.
You know, this thing of wearing beanies in the morning because Nairobi is cold. So, yeah.
There we go. It's out and the world is at peace again.
Yeah.
Okoh salama?
Fiti!
Good morning. You know that story? What was it? Was it Snow White?
Snow White, did what? And the 10 dwarfs, seven
dwarfs and the wicked witch, I don't know who bit an apple.
Yeah.
These stories that were written for children were actually morbid things.
Yep.
My God. So this woman is a wicked witch and she looks in the mirror and then sees herself and the mirror is cracked.
For some weird reason, Snow White's parents just allowed a witch to be around their daughter.
For God's sake. And then she's hanging around with, can you imagine yourself hanging around with 7 little people? Some demonic things.
And
okay, not like the little people are demonic.
I'm just saying security.
Dwarfs. I'm saying dwarfs. Then they were security. Yeah. Then, not leave alone that, then all the dwarfs had different personalities. Yeah. They were all like in their own right, happy, grumpy, snoozy. I don't know I can't remember what all their names were. But I don't think that was written for kids. I think that there were many lessons within within these stories.
Let me tell you, as adults, when you look back at a lot of things we watched as kids, you're like, yo,
Kidogo. What the heck?
Kidogo. Yeah.
Kidogo, don't let my kids watch that.
Kidogo, don't let my kids watch that, man. But look at us. Look at us today, man.
Well, there could be a question.
Like fine ladies and gentlemen.
All right.
Despite the shackles, not of doom.
Wow.
Yeah. Despite the shackles of confusion that we went through, look at us today. Thank God.
Shackles of something, that's for sure. Uko salama?
Kabisa.
Confirmed. Me, I'm okay.
I'm telling you that mustard is giving.
Thank you.
It's giving.
Santi. It was an interesting weekend because I did what?
Sleep.
Yeah. There was a particular sleep that came at around 4 a.m. on Saturday. And it was like drugs deep. And I woke up and I was like, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was fantastic.
Let me tell you, I think this entire weekend I've not been able to sleep well.
Pourquoi?
No.
Nini mbaya? Auntie Njeri is here to listen to all your problems.
Yeah.
That's how we have established that Auntie Njeri is fine.
Yeah, there is common problem and then there is parents as well are not feeling well. There's my brother as well. So you have to deal with a lot. Yeah.
Mambo mingi.
Pole
sana.
Mda mchache.
C'est la vie, they say en français.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, believe me, I promise you that it's going to be okay.
It's going to be okay.
Yep.
It's going to be okay.
It will be. Yeah. And like Jay-Z says, you've already seen your worst and you've lived through it.
True.
I don't know that Jay-Z is the guy we should be quoting this morning, but okay.
No, but let's say every single thing that happens in your life gets you to the position where you are today. So everything that has happened just led you to this specific point where you are. So what else is there?
It's going to be okay.
Future.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and that's what brings us to then be able to have this conversation this morning, establish that everybody's doing okay, getting into it this morning. The temperatures have dropped significantly into the weekend and then into today. So it's probably going to get a little bit colder. We're getting into the winter months for Kenya as it is. So bundle up because you'll need it. And this is the time where we'll probably get a lot of the sniffles in. So please protect yourself. Keep, is it moisturized? Hydrated. That's the word I'm looking for.
Please have masks on.
Yeah, and if you feel a little bit of a sniffle, you want to actually start to treat your symptoms so that we don't start to spread stuff.
Wrap it up, man. Mask on.
And wash your hands.
Important.
Very important. Okay, so those are some of the things that we start off this morning with. And very good morning to you, Evie. Good morning. And, Dennis Samira is here this week.
Samira?
Okay. Good morning. Good morning. Joy B is wearing gloves. I look at Joy B, I just feel warm. Because good grief. Okay, everybody, Karibu Sana getting into it this week. Good morning. And there are quite a lot of conversations that we'll be having. It's a new week, a new day. And we saw people said that somebody went and ate in a restaurant somewhere and did not pay and sent other people to go and eat there. And then we saw people now in rapid succession going to the said restaurant to pay the bills of those other people and to continue giving the fella money.
Yeah. Let me tell you.
Do you really think they were helping, or that the people are just making political pronouncements on certain things?
Yeah, people are making political pronouncements. Some are just exposing their idiocy out there. But Kenyans as well are giving out a statement in their position. You know what I mean? And I think that's where the message is at.
I think so too.
That's where the message is at.
I think so. Yeah. And this is what we're looking at.
Yeah. When you talk about the goonism industry out there, we know who's funding it.
You know what? I think that there are other things in which you can invest.
Yep.
The fact that we are starting to accept that you can hire another individual to meet havoc and or injury or destruction on another human being, that we have sunken very low. Very, very low. And if anybody is confused, it is not a good thing.
True.
It is not something to be proud of. It is not something that you can say, well, I have a war chest of goons that I pay to meet havoc and or destruction on somebody else.
There's nothing to do about it.
Absolutely. And if we have gotten to the point where we are accepting that as a modus operandi, then there is something very wrong with us.
Yeah.
And that's how we can actually start this morning. That we look at such things and laugh? Absolutely not. I saw the fear in a young woman's face when the goons maybe approaching them, and she in that moment her life flashed before her eyes like, oh my God, what is actually going to happen? That this is something. You guys, invest in farming, invest in agriculture, invest in young people, invest in a business that is actually going to do something for you, but invest in other human beings that will meet havoc and or danger on somebody else. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. It's not something that you want to do.
Not.
Trust me, it isn't. We can do better. Always, every day, every moment to the hour, we can do better.
We must do better.
We have to do better, guys. We have to. Our conversations this morning will start at 7 o'clock. We will talk with Odhiambo Otieno, who's a political analyst, as well as a communications analyst. Parliamentary versus presidential system. We've been having conversations recently that what is the legislature supposed to do in the country? What is the judiciary supposed to do? What is the executive supposed to do? Is this a tripartite governance system? Yes, it is. But now let's look at the parliamentary system, whereby the president is essentially ceremonial. Does that actually work? Will it actually work? This is all vis-a-vis what the Constitution says. There are rumblings about a straitjacket constitution within which Kenya is operating. That is it time to actually start having conversations about loosening it up a little bit. We all know that if you were to change anything in the Constitution, you would have to go to referendum, because people people would get to the point where they say, okay, perhaps it's a little bit too stringent, or it's not very clear about what should happen in a particular situation. One of the things that I think should actually change is that the Auditor General needs to be then given powers to recommend investigation into prosecution. That's just me. That's just me saying my things, because we seem to be getting away with murder. So Odhiambo joins us in that conversation at 7 o'clock. Let's open it up and have this conversation, because we also ask ourselves, can the executive actually come to the legislature and say, you guys, you know what, change this thing? Or that we go and we sing a particular song in whatever direction as the legislature, not realizing just how much power you do have as a lawmaking, budget making and oversight body.
You know what I think needs to change? Is we need to amend that constitution to give people the power to withdraw and recall.
Absolutely.
Let it be that at the point of the referendum process where Kenyans vote for that express power and policies to give it power is given by the people. They don't give it to the National Assembly.
Well, a lot could change, because we see that, you're stuck between a rock and a hard place a lot of times. So let's have that conversation at 7. It should be an interesting one. And then at 8 o'clock, we're going to look post-budget. Productivity in public service delivery. Public service, the places where you go to receive a public service.
E.g. hospital.
Bas. Exactly. CPA Kivinji Kiragu is the chairperson of the Intergovernmental Relations Technical Committee. Right? He's going to join us at 8 o'clock. We're going to have this conversation. Okay, so how do you take that, which you spend all this time and all this hullabaloo telling us that you're going to do, and take it and put it into getting things done? Implementation. Right. Let's talk about that at 8 o'clock. And then it's Monday. So at 9 o'clock, we have a conversation. Dear Mr. President, he's back, by the way. You've seen he came back?
But he's about to leave yet.
I guess.
7.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay, but he's here for a couple of days, so perhaps today's the day we can have a conversation with him. Welcome back, Mr. President. The people would like to have a conversation with you today. And our conversation today is going to center around, are you okay? Are you okay? If you're not, why? We had this conversation before, and things may or may not have changed since then. Let's talk across board. And what this does is it allows you to open it up to whatever you may not be okay about. And if you are, you can say it as well. And you can tell dear Mr. President that you're doing okay and everything is fine. And if there are things that you want to bring up, bring it up. Let's talk. Okay? Sawa. Those are the things that we'll be talking about today, and we'll get into it just a little bit. Very good morning to our audience from all over the country, the region, and the world. This is The Situation Room. Dennis Aseto and Nduh here with you this morning, getting into it. And of course, Evie is turning the wheels of steel behind all of this, getting us into these conversations as we get into Monday morning. A very warm welcome to our audience on KTN, and our live streams are up on YouTube, Facebook, and on X. Let's get into it. As we do, where are you taking us this week, sir?
So, we're not far from the country we were in last week. So the country borders Guinea and borders Senegal. The capital is Bissau. So the country is
Guinea-Bissau.
Thank you. And you see, it's a country that has an archipelago where different islands then come in there to form that great country that it is. But one thing that stands out with the country as well is the fact that they have hippos that can swim in salt water.
Oh, snap.
Yeah.
Really? Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, so
salt swimming hippos.
So when you think about tourist attraction, voila.
That's one thing to go see.
That's one thing to go see, because then again, it's like when you get to a place and you're being told there are crocs that swim in salty water, and you're like, how does that happen? Because from this side of the world,
they swim in fresh water.
That doesn't happen often. But let's go to proverb. The moon moves slowly, but it crosses the whole sky.
It'll get there.
It'll get there.
It'll get there eventually. It's going to happen. It may be slow. Progress may be slow. It's kind of like the wheels of justice. They grind slow but sure. You can't really see the moon moving until you take a break and come back and see that it has actually covered some distance.
Yes.
And I guess in everything that you might see that progress is slow, but that doesn't mean that progress is not being made.
Yeah.
So it'll happen. Just keep at it.
Patience and persistence makes one achieve more than they thought about.
True.
The moon just does its thing. Just shines.
And moves. But it doesn't even move. It's the earth that's moving.
It's the earth that's moving. And it knows at the end of the day, because the earth is doing the hard work, I'll just sit here, shine, and I'll cover everywhere.
Absolutely.
You know? Exactly.
It'll cover it.
It'll cover.
That's a piece of encouragement for us today, isn't it? That it's going to happen eventually.
Yes.
And even though you see it as though you're not making progress, it actually is there. And so those are some of the things that we talk about and look forward to. And while that was happening, I know that there are people who are still groggy this morning because the World Cup matches are going on while you're asleep. Okay? So the match at 2200, another one at midnight, and then another one at 2 a.m., 4 a.m. I know that the matches in this World Cup are going to be when this side of the world is going to bed. Sleep. But we have the case whereby a lot of people are awake watching the matches. And then the city county of Nairobi, your favorite, has put up a TV in the middle of the city for the World Cup matches. Yep. My question is, when exactly are people supposed to come out and watch the thing?
My question to counter that then would be, I wish you'd do that to encourage 24-hour economy.
Right. I was just really confused because I wasn't sure how that's supposed to happen.
Counterproductive, huh?
I don't know, because I'm wondering, are people in the city at 2 a.m.? I know, like Lagos is a 27-hour city, day city, but
Nairobi sleeps at night.
No.
Unless if you do that, say around Wakulima Market.
Okay, maybe their parts is busy. People are traveling, whatever.
Yes, maybe you do that as well at Machakos bus stop because it's busy.
Okay.
You know. Maybe railways bus stop.
Okay.
You know, but the other sides of town pretty much is dead at night.
Okay. Well, I wonder what. Maybe somebody.
So where is that television in?
Where did that? Right in the around Archives, no?
Archives.
Yeah. Okay. Is it busy there? Is it busy at 2 a.m.? Okay. Well, something.
It's.
Okay, let's be positive. There's a thought that counts.
Okay, there are people in the CBD at night who enjoy that.
Okay, watch it to achieve.
Yeah.
Okay, no problem.
It's good.
It's a good thing. Lakini bado tunataka chapati machine.
Oh yeah, tunataka chapati machine.
I'm not letting go of this one.
I saw an Indian actually.
There's
this Indian friend of mine who bought a roti machine. So everything is just does the dough, water and everything, and roti just comes out of that machine, you know, every other time. So our chapati machine, $1 million a day. It's $1 million a day. Eh?
Tunataka chapati machine. Tuliambiwa chapati machine nakuja Nairobi.
Nairobi.
Thanks. We are not letting go of this one.
No.
Here we die on this mountain.
We die here.
We die here. Meanwhile, after you guys thought that Arsenal did the thing with 22 years and then not winning, let me tell you, the New York Knicks came out and beat in that match. Then it became 5-1, where they beat the San Antonio Spurs. After 52 years, the New York Knicks are the NBA champions.
They deserve it, man.
They
deserve it.
Brunson played like he has never played in his life before. It was a good series win. It was a good series win. It was good to see. And people who have supported the New York Knicks forever are actually very happy that this has happened.
Now you understand how Arsenal feels, eh?
Yeah, okay, so.
Yeah. 23 years. Wanaje tupige kelele.
Hey, Jama.
Champions League ilitoka kidogo tu, but it's okay next season. You know, actually, Arsenal have been saying next season forever.
Yawn.
This is our season.
Okay.
Next season is for Manchester. Both Manchesters.
You don't want it again?
No, see, they're the ones now who took over our phrase. Next season.
Right. Hey, Kiara Peters tuned in this morning and says a very good morning to you. Life will never wait for you to be okay. Get up, carry your burden and keep going. 100%. Standing Gashi is tuning in this morning from Juja Farm, aka Mount Kilimambogo View. Nduh, in the spirit of the limited edition June babies. Yes. Kindly wish and sing happy birthday to my lovely wife Edna. Thank you. Stanley's wife Edna. Well, a very good happy. You say good birthday.
A very good morning to you and happy birthday.
But, do you see why you're
now
here?
You can continue.
Jeez. Happy birthday to you with a step. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Edna. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, and may you have many, many more. Literally, may you have many, many more. A very good morning to you, Robert Mbogo, tuned in from Mombasa. Good morning to you. Bob Akoko says, good morning, Nduh and Dennis. So now you've spelled Dennis like Denise. Denise is the female of Dennis. right? This Dennis is Dennis. Denise is how you spelt it. So Denise and Dennis. Had you been twins, you would have been called like that.
Yeah.
Sindio? Okay, Dennis.
May the spirit of twins
find you. It locates you. Don't even try pointing that thing in my direction. You have to behave yourself over there. What's that? Hey,
I was just praying.
No, pray there. What's wrong with you? Pray over there. Hey.
May the spirit of twins shine upon us.
No.
Okay, upon me.
Amen. What is that? They all are dangerous prayers. No, not doing jack. Hey, Lestran says, good morning from Committee Road. Good morning to you. Izakale, 22 cents off petrol? Yeah. Today is the 15th. So, yesterday was the 14th. So, Ipra did that thing. 22 cents. Tell me, what you can do with 22 cents today.
22 cents?
Yeah.
I can tell you. Look for extra 20 cents for it to be a shilling. Then you'll have...
Extra 78 cents for it to be a shilling, my friend.
So it's
22 cents.
Yeah.
And you need another 78 for it to be 1 shilling.
That's what I'm saying. You need extra 5 20 cents.
Oh, 5 more 20 cents. Yeah, like 4 and something. So it's not even a bob. Can you buy anything for a shilling? Chewing gum. Those sweets they give you. Those guys are liars.
Where?
In the supermarket where they give you like 7 sweets when they don't have change. Even those ones are not 22 cents.
No, they're not.
Sheesh.
Like a bob.
Christina says good morning. Prince Alvin says good morning, Spice FM. Tune in from Roy Sambu. Clement Ochola says good morning from Malindi. As much as we say one term and Ruto must go, we should not replace him with someone worse than him. That person should not have even an ear resembling him. Okay, good Lord. I wasn't quite sure where you were going with that, but okay. A very good morning to you. Nashan Gogi says, good morning, Nduh and Dennis. It's very low to send goons to a church service. It's crazy. Yes. Also, if the CSs can't name the said politicians, I don't see a need for him to address the issue. We're tired of games and we are not kids. Meanwhile, the 14 people who are abroad who attacked Senator Osotsi, have you found them yet?
No.
Actually, if you say you know who they are, why are we still having a conversation? Arrest them.
Yeah.
Why are we still talking about it?
We are signatories to Interpol. You can always sanction and ask the relevant countries to send them back.
They should just leave us alone.
Yeah.
David Mangara says, good morning, a blessed week to you too, my brother. Mashari and Njeri was tuned in this morning. Spice team, Nduh and Dennis. Americans should build the Ebola quarantine facility in Manda Bay, where they have a military base. Actually, that also is part of Kenya, just in case you were wondering. Eric Awar says, good morning. Simon Kibiru is also tuned in from Sultan Hamud. Ready for today's conversations. Have a nice day, and to you too. Happy New Week, says Mutuflani to the princess. Sir, shut up and the squad. Spice FM, what good things do you have lined up for the Kings this Men's Mental Health Awareness Month? EVE is cooking up something, that's for sure. Men, can I just be, as somebody who is in your corner, please speak. But there are some people who will actually listen. Don't bottle it up. It actually makes it worse for you later.
There's power in speaking.
There is power in speaking. I mean, not all of us speak out either, but you find that it's cathartic when you do. So please do. Please do. And I'm not just saying it like it's easy to, because you are going through generations, years and years of compacted non-communication, non-speaking, because you feel like a man is not a man if he doesn't speak about his problems. No. Let's change that narrative. You're better for it. So, do you now say Happy Men's Mental Health Month? Okay, Happy Men's Mental Health Month.
Asante sana.
Karibu sana. Father's Day is also in here somewhere.
I know.
Yep.
I like that Father's Day though. Anyway, it's a good thing.
Is
it Men's Day or Father's Day that is together with the World Toilet Day?
No, Men's Day, International Men's Day is actually also International Toilets Day. Do with that information as you choose.
I could just move it.
Well,
avocado.
Make it like the next day.
Yeah.
The day after. All right. Hey. Okay. Let's go through this really quickly because there are many people. Nili Wacha Wapi. So Eric Orr says, good morning to Flani. Fiery Red says, good morning to Aseto. Another morning to petition Dio to come back Monday to Thursday and JK on Fridays. We'll start again. Nyakundi Emmanuel says, good morning Nduh and Aseto. A very good morning to you, Karibu Sana, and thank you for being in the room with us today. Karibu Sana. Also, hey, these ads, they are too many, Bwana. Samuel says, good morning, my favorites tuned in from Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia. And Vincent Marube says, good morning, tuned in from Syracuse. Okay, you're in California. Dan Kuto says, good morning, Spice family. Very good morning to you. Sarah Kilonzi is also tuned in this morning. Auctioning our identity expose is another story which, not followed carefully, will haunt this country. We're going to talk about that today as well. And Dr. Fico says, good morning, Spice team. Can you imagine police tear gassed a school with kids from a music festival in Mumias, thinking it was a united opposition convoy? What are we turning to, really? See, this is the problem. When you ferry people to your rallies in school buses, do you see the problem, number one?
Yeah.
Then now some dullard sees a school bus and would imagine that they are opposition. So they decide to do what? Tear gas the vehicle. Then, lo and behold, who do you find coming from the music festivals which are ongoing? Children in a school bus. Who would have thunk it that there would be children in a yellow school bus? Oh my God, what a surprise.
Surprise.
Nonsense and omena. We are taking this thing very seriously. You can't be messing around anymore. Farja says, good morning. Oh, Seno Mark says, good morning, Spice. We try again this week. Well, let's try. Awangoi says, just when you think we sunk low, we go lower. Unfortunately, this is the thing. If he has told you guys that this men's mental health, it shall be addressed. Cliff Sandy says, good morning, Team Spice. Thank you, Nduh and Dennis, for mentioning about the goonism nonsense. At some point, we actually need common decencies to prevail and have respect for life and peace. Kabisa, it's just stupid. Don't tell me. Can you imagine you're standing in front of people, you grown-up human being, and saying, yeah, imagine my goons did the business? Shut up. Okay, even me now I've started.
See? See? But it's the truth.
Hey. And you're proud of it. I need to go back to school. I don't even know if it's school.
You're not thinking about it. I remember there is a certain member of parliament who was actually suspended from the House for speaking something about Senate.
Yeah.
This is an opportunity for these members of the Senate to be kicked out.
Yeah. Come on.
Because what the hell?
Surely. Mohona Waera says, good morning, Team Spice. Thank you for being a fearless voice that keeps us informed. Gonga Kabisa, good morning to you. Nancy Abura says, good morning, SpiceFM. Nduh, you look good in that bright color. Thank you very much. John says, good morning to you from Nakuru. Doha says, hello through Robert Minor. A very good morning to you. My prince says, in his own words, one of the goons said, CS Treasury John Mbadi sent them to cause mayhem at All Saints Cathedral. Why is he still in office? Why is he still in office? They know the goons who went to All Saints on Friday. You know who sent them. Yeah. Why is he still walking? Do you understand? Okay. Patrick Arum says, good morning. You make us smile in the midst of all the drama. Keep the candle burning. Thank you so much. Tibbs Muge says, good morning. Keep up the hard work. Asante Sana, good morning to you. Otieno says, been a while, but I'm still part of the gang. Otieno, we have missed you. And I'm glad that you're back this morning. Boko Jerry says, good morning. Now we have an experience of how goons work after the Haiti experience. I believe there's a connection somewhere. Yani, the authorities are talking publicly. Just act. Period. You've said it, Njeri. Yeah. Osana Emily says, good morning. This time from the lakeside, better. And a new week to us all. A very good morning to you. Bwangi Juma's also tuned in this morning. Someone thinks he's carrying our brains. It's good morning, Spice FM. How are you all this morning? Kenya isn't a plantation. Someone thinks he's carrying our brains. Washington Okechi says, good morning, Nduh and Aseto. By the way, Nduh, my brothers from Nigeria call me Igbo man because of my last name, Okechi. You ask me this every time. Okechi means God's time. And a very good morning to you as you're tuned in from Washington. Everybody, good morning. Karibu Sana. Thank you for being here. Real quick, let's take a look at what's happening with weather and traffic. Ama? No?
Kabisa.
Okay, let's do it. Weather, traffic, real quick. And then we come back and look into the headlines this morning. A very good morning to you. Thank you for being in the Situation Room with us this morning. Always a pleasure. And that we can say a quick hello to you even as you tell us the things that are going on. Remember, we'll have a chance to do that with dear Mr. President at 9. It's 22 minutes to 7. Good morning.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. The weather with Spice FM.
Temperatures dropping in Nairobi this morning. We will see, that's right now, at 13 degrees, and through to Monday we'll see a high of 23, and into Nakuru this morning 11 degrees and sunny, we'll see a high of 25, and Njeri at 13 is partly sunny, we'll see a high of 22. 18 and sunny into Kisumu, it's 16 and sunny in Kakamega, 23 into Mombasa, and 25 in a mostly sunny Malindi. It's 16 and sunny in Marsabit, and we're looking into a mostly clear morning in Kampala at 21, and it's 21 and sunny in Dar es Salaam. 9 degrees and mostly clear in Johannesburg. while at 26 it is cloudy in Lagos. It's 14 and cloudy looking into London, and 25 and clear in Beijing. It's a rainy Sunday night in New York at 22. Coming into Monday, we'll see a high of 31 and a low of 20.
Chilled Spice. Spice up your life. Traffic.
All right, so this morning traffic is already starting to build up on the Thika Superhighway this morning, getting out into the city. Actually heavy all the way from that Royal Junction. It's going to make its way past Githurai and then out towards the junction, crossing over towards Outer Ring. There's traffic then heading out onto the Pangani Underpass and then in through towards Maranga Road. Very busy getting into the city from the Thika Superhighway this morning. We're also seeing the same kind of busyness coming off and in and outbound around Embakasi. And then as you get in through towards Cabanas, it's going to clog up just a little bit as well. Still very busy on North Airport Road out towards Outer Ring, so that's doing the thing there. And on Jogo Road heading out towards Landis and then on towards Wakulima, it is busy. It's busy. Keep an eye on things and see how they progress as we get into traffic hour. We'll talk SpiceFM KE on X. Hashtag The Situation Room.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
It's 19 minutes to 7 o'clock, and let's take a look at what is going on in the papers. Rahim Sula, we see you tuned in from Nairobi. Yeah, every now and then we switch it up a little bit. So budget day was fun, wasn't it? Aseto, yes, it was. Yes.
It was.
Okay. Yeah, to do that production was fun as well. Luhimbo is also tuned in from Dar es Salaam this morning, rather from Tanzania. Not quite sure where in Tanzania you are, but a very good morning to you. Let's look into the headlines on the front page of the bold newspaper, The Standard. ID cards auction. Auction in Kenya. The Standard today exposes a shadowy network through which foreign nationals from Somalia, Ethiopia, Uganda, and other neighboring countries are obtaining Kenyan identity documents for as low as 15,000 Kenya shillings. Yes. The probe reveals how individuals with questionable backgrounds have acquired the country's most sensitive documents with apparent ease. Yet senior officials at the Department of Immigration and the National Registration Bureau have remained silent. And as has Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen, who is behind the scene, who benefits, and what does it mean for national security in the 2027 election? Now, whereas you may say that this is not an explosive story because it's something that has been in the annals for a long time, when are we going to have a serious, not just conversation, action about the fact that renowned warlords who are looked for around the world have your documentation, not just an ID, a passport, which gives them entry, exit, and it's issued so it allows them easy passage around the world.
Yep.
So somebody sees and they said, this person has a Kenyan passport. When are we going to have action about such a thing? So I guess that's the question that this story is asking. That people, and not just warlords, anybody, a random guy, random Joe, Jane, will have a Kenyan passport and they can actually get it for 15K. Pony up 15,000 shillings, you have a Kenyan passport. What are you saying about your documents?
But those individuals who have Kenyan passports that are known, right? One would hope that the government would have given a statement that it has revoked, it has cancelled.
Something. By way of rights.
Up until now, we still know those individuals still have those documents.
You're absolutely right. If it was
a concern to them, if it was a security matter, if it was about sovereignty and importance of the document, the government would have given us evidence that, number one, they did investigations. In the meantime, while doing that, they revoked those passports from the system.
It should have been. That's what should have happened, without question. I'm still on a list waiting. For mine, I'm not paying 15,000 to anybody. If you don't want to give me, don't give me.
Please don't.
At all. Very simple story. But it's a story that we're going to look into the details in just a bit. Nakuru teacher gets green light to challenge Guinness World Record. Okay, fun.
Yeah.
Maloba was originally slated to undertake the challenge in January this year, but the event was postponed due to paperwork delays. Guinness World Record has given the green light for a Nakuru teacher to break the existing record for the longest continuous mathematics lesson. What? Mwalimu wa math anataka kuendelea for more than 1 hour and 20 minutes. You would?
Yeah.
Fenric Maloba, a teacher at the Mungai Senior School, is aiming to teach for 45 hours non-stop to demystify the subject and prove that mathematics is not the monster many learners fear.
True.
Okay, this should be fun. I'm asking, are there students in the class? It's like just...
Yeah.
Okay.
I think
for 45 hours.
Like me, I would want to be part of it. HR, SG, please allow me to go. Just for 45 hours.
Just for 45 hours. Okay. P.S. Muthoni urges leaders to keep politics out of healthcare.
Nope. Shut up.
Okay, you said it.
Healthcare can't be outside politics because it's politicians who politicized healthcare. They come up with policies around it. I mean, no. No.
Okay.
No.
How Elon Musk's trillionaire status dwarfs Kenya's 4.8 trillion shilling budget.
Yeah.
Okay, this is interesting. Elon Musk's trillionaire milestone fueled by SpaceX IPO outshines Kenya's national budget discussions. Friday morning, Kenyans woke up contemplating the sobering realities of the national budget estimates presented by Finance Minister John Badi in Parliament the previous day. His delivery was more than a speech. It was a policy statement that will directly shape the price of food, fuel, and the financing of public services such as healthcare, education, and roads to the coming year. So this story is just basically trying to tell you that Elon Musk, one man, his money, that's the one that he has, is more than your national budget.
It's 128.9 trillion.
Sawa, let that sink in for a moment. It was interesting to see Irongo Kangata in Ethika yesterday.
Yes.
Because if you are wondering what he's done, whether he's left UDA, well, he's very clearly joining the opposition in the race ahead of 2027. So people who said, he said in the corners he gave money.
No.
He has made it very clear what he's doing. Unless it was an apparition and it was not him.
No, he did.
It was him?
He was actually there.
Okay.
Wamepata nyumba? You asked that question. Wamepata nyumba? Hizo pesa za nyumba wachukue wapeleke wapi? Kwa mashule.
It's interesting how even the loyal generals are coming out to say now, excuse me, even those things we know that they're not being done. Sawa, from the time that he was senator, then became governor, perhaps this is one bold move that he has made, but he seems to be grounded in his truth, his own.
Kangata wa barua.
Bas. What? He writes letters. Nakumat, how's that for a name?
Yeah.
Has been ordered to pay its lawyer 9.7 million shillings legal fees for eviction cases. Yeah, they've not paid the guy. So now the court has said pay up.
Yeah. That's a sad story, man. That was such a beautiful brand.
It really was. So this story is on page 6 and 7. Kenyan birthright on auction. Inside illegal issuance of identity documents to foreigners. We're going to look at that in just a little bit. You want to look at some of the headlines then from page 8, sir?
Yeah, so let's look at page 8. And there is FCPA John Badi. In his full stage. Yeah. Sema kibeba briefcase. Now, it's a spending fallacy, however. Supplementary budget watered down main plan and alter projects. So while Parliament debates and approves Kenya's annual spending plans amid extensive public participation, the real story often emerges months later through supplementary budgets. Now, supplementary estimates routinely rewrite the government spending script, raising questions about accountability, transparency, and whether the original budget truly matters. Well, what was that name that we were told? About supplementary budget, it was the reward.
Where?
We were told that thing by an economist in this room, where up to 10% of that money then would end up in the executive to an account of around 420-something billion. You remember?
Yes. I can't.
Yes, so that's what supplementary budgets do. Now, State House spent 11.6 billion shillings in 9 months. How's that for some spending? So State House spent 11.6 billion shillings in the first 9 months, not even 1 year, in the first 9 months of the 2025-2026 financial year, according to the latest National Government Budget Implementation Review report released by the Controller of Budget. You see that report?
Yeah.
It's not ours. It is not from the civil society. It is not from the moon.
No.
It is from a government entity telling you they spent 11.6 billion in 9 months.
Yes. It's very good.
Minus 9 is?
Who? What?
12 minus 9?
3.
3. So that means they needed supplementary for 3 extra months for them to continue operating. Thank you. Welcome. Thank you. Asante. Arrest goons or quit, Sapit tells IG Kanja of All Saints raid. Now, the SCK Archbishop condemns acts of violence in public spaces, terming it a dangerous trend. He says it's a cause for worry to all Kenyans because the future of the nation is at risk. And this is what he said. We live at a time when people are tempted to believe power belongs to the people who command the largest voices. Crowds or those with capacity to intimidate others with ammunition and can kill. Let me tell you. I will not speak to politicians. I will speak to the goons. If you are a Kenyan, you have allowed yourself to be used as a goon because you think that person has come and given you 500 shillings. Tell you what, 500 shillings is not even a quarter of their fuel. You get what I mean? By the time he's spending 50,000 to fuel his car, that 500 shillings would go into that vehicle how many times? Mjinga ni nani? Mjinga ni nani? We'll sit here and bash these politicians, and rightfully so, they're idiots who keep on purchasing these goons and making sure that industry continues. But the biggest failure we see is Kenyans agreeing to be used in that space.
Sadly so. Yep.
Afadhali tuseme ukweli. We will bash politicians, but the individuals who allow themselves to be used. No politician hakuna tofauti. Farmers reject county levy on export flowers. Now, Kenyan flowers exporters, led by the Kenya Flowers Council, have rejected the imposition of a cess on export-bound flowers by the county government of Nakuru. We talked about it last week, eh?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, taxation times 2. Now, while Julius Bitok is a man under mounting public scrutiny anger, now from accusations of engaging in politics, the PS is facing the toughest scrutiny of his tenure. The criticism comes against the backdrop of the tragic fire at Utumishi Girls Academy. That notwithstanding as well, there are questions around his role as the PS in immigration.
Yep.
With ID.
We're asking this question even now. It's the front page of the Standard today.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, on page 12 now is the opinions there, and Josephat Lista Nyaringo says, to prosper, our country needs truly value-driven citizenry. See? See? Amaguns. This is your story. Mweni Standard, page 12. You can also get it on epaper.standardmedia.co.ke. Msome your story. Now, on Gachagwa's judgment, the High Court ended up impeaching itself. That's according to Macharia Munene, who is an historian. Do you agree with that?
I do.
You agree?
Yes.
Walichoma?
Because you want, how do you say burn to yourself?
Umechoma. Umejichoma.
Yes. Because you essentially, yes, you've showed your inadequacies, number one. Number two, you've actually opened up the door for speculation. The thing about nature, as you've been told, is that she abhors a vacuum. So if you leave a little bit, just a little bit of space for a lot of innuendo, it'll fill the space.
Yep.
So now, if somebody wants to question whether at any case, at any point in time, a judge may have been compromised, this you have given fuel and fodder for that to happen. And so somebody will ask, why would you make such a rookie mistake when it comes to, you said that it was the Senate who was at fault here because they didn't give the man a fair hearing. Did you hear what the Senate said the day after? From Aaron Chariot to Boni Khalwale to everybody saying, excuse me, we actually did what we were supposed to do. They went after the judiciary and they said, usually I'm the person of the law. But in this case, the judges got it wrong. This was Boni Khalwale. He said, we've gone to school, Bwana. University, what does it do? It allows people to employ critical thinking. Not just rote learning. Critical thinking is now what you apply at that point. And that is what we did. But the court has set itself up for firing squad, and it's coming from all chambers, my friend.
Yeah.
Because in this case, people are going to wonder,
You know, for a body that whose purpose pretty much is to just interpret the law on that one.
Interpreted or
misinterpreted. Now, transmission PPP will greatly boost Kenya's energy. That is on page 14. And the disregard of court orders is impunity, and we must resist it. That's according to LSK President Charles Kanjama.
Absolutely. And I think that we cannot stop by calling this thing out.
Yep.
Kenyans, do not allow yourselves to be used.
Don't.
Because the stain is on you. Do not allow yourself to be used. Let me tell you something. Esau sold his birthright for a bowl of red stew that he finished eating, digested, and woke up the next morning. The stew was gone.
Yep.
And you can cook another one. But the birthright was gone, never to be returned.
True.
Hello?
Hello.
You cannot continue to do this. Do not give it up for 500 bob, because then what happens after that? You dig yourself and you sink yourself lower into a hole that you will not be able to get out of. Do not allow yourself to be used. And then we come and play with it tomorrow and then give people money and say, oh, don't worry, we sorted out. No.
I'll take you back to the story of the Bible. There's someone who sold out Jesus, called Judas. He lived with that guilt until what happened?
He hung himself.
Thank you.
Yep.
That's exactly what Kenyans are doing.
Be careful here. Doesn't matter who's using them. And then people come and smile and laugh at you and show you they're 32. My friend, it's not a joke.
It's not a joke.
It's the same thing now we're talking with the ID cards auction. That when you have the identity of a nation, what you're doing is that you're carrying the sovereignty of that nation wherever it is that you go. Now, if for the swapping of some coins that you can actually get that identity, I would wonder why Kenyans are not asking the questions as to why. That do you know today that somebody can, let's break this story down into the language that you and I can understand.
Yeah.
That what this story is telling us on page 6 and 7 of the Standard today is that, you know what? That you, who is a Kenyan, born and bred by mother, father in this country, then bears the sovereignty of the state in you, but also by the documentation. That somebody from somewhere can just rock up, so long as they know the person who's sitting in the chair of the DOI, and come and say, excuse me, ma'am, I got some 15K. I need an ID. You give. You know what an ID allows you to do? An ID allows you to operate within this country. It allows you to vote. Open a business, register a business, get a job, open a bank account. It allows you to get a SIM card and then operate as a Kenyan. It then allows you to vote in this country.
It makes you access all the government services, including SHA.
All of them. All of them. It allows you can do all of those things because I don't believe that there's provisional ID. No. Once you have the ID, you have access to everything. And then you know what an ID also allows you to do? It allows you to apply for a passport. Because then you can fly around the country, around the world, bearing again the citizenship of Kenya. Because you did what? You paid 15,000 shillings. Understand what I'm saying? This is not the fee of the 6,000 however much. This is the 15,000 that you gave to somebody. Kenyans, your birthright is being sold for 15,000 to people who come from other countries. Understand that the immigration law allows other countries to come in, and through a proper process they can get the documentation. What we are saying now is that that process in this case is not being followed, and more people are getting your ID. And the people who are issuing this thing is not somebody who's sitting in the back end somewhere. The people who are allowing this to happen are here, looking at you every day. But for some reason, in fact, that's where I am this morning. You know what? Kenyans have said it's okay. You know, or they didn't know. Now you know. But Kenyans are saying it's okay. Anybody who you want a passport? Come. Passports for all. They're handing them out like hot dogs at the state fair. Come and have.
Nduh.
Yes?
There is a child in this country today who's not able to access healthcare. You know, because in that queue there's someone who paid 15K and accessed that service for them.
Yeah.
When we go to elections, there are aliens who will vote in that election. Now talk to me about the sanctity of that election and how truthful, fair, verifiable it will be if we have aliens participating in that. That as well goes to tell you the next leader that is coming into the country, how then are we sure that it is Kenyans who gave them the mandate?
But this story tells you that you're not sure.
Thank you.
You're not unequivocally saying it's one way or another.
Nope.
But what you're saying is that you are not sure.
Yes.
You are not sure. And that if you go into this unsure, then there's a problem. The end result of cooking is only as good as the ingredients that you put into it.
Thank you.
So now, if you use substandard ingredients, you cannot be sure that what you're getting is quality.
True.
You guys, there's a problem here. If warlords have your passport, if anybody can come into the country and they have a little bit of a coin to spare and they're getting your ID, there is a problem. Ama nimekuja sana? Okay. That's the story.
Kugonga finya.
This is what we are being told. Anybody can get it. Do you want them to?
Yeah,
that's the question. At 7 a.m.
Spice up your life. The latest news from around the world. 94.4 Spice FM.
Good morning. This is the Newswire. I'm Edwin Lisamira. President William Ruto has dismissed suggestions that he should take a break as he faces growing criticism over his frequent foreign trips and local tours funded by taxpayers. Speaking in Kajiado, Ruto said his intention is to position Kenya among the world's leading economies.
Wewe kama unataka kwenda holiday, wewe enda holiday. Hiyo ni sawa. Mimi niko na kazi ya kufanya. Na diary yangu, ukiangalia diary yangu imejaa miezi 6 mbele kila siku. Lakini ni kwa sababu hii nchi, kubadilika kwa hii nchi inataka bidii. Tumechelewa. Kuna nchi tulikuwa sawa na wao miaka 60 iliyopita. Nchi ya Korea ilikuwa kama Kenya. Nchi ya Singapore ilikuwa kama Kenya. Nchi ya Malaysia ilikuwa kama Kenya. Lakini wametuacha nyuma kwa sababu sisi tumelegeza mwendo. And that is why we must accelerate our development.
Murang'a Governor Irungu Kang'ata has joined the Linda Mwananchi movement, saying the group is working towards bringing change in the country's leadership. Kang'ata was welcomed to the team by Siaya Governor James Orengo during a rally held in Thika Town, Kiambu County. Kang'ata termed the Kenya Kwanza regime priority of affordable housing as totally misplaced, saying the funds should be used to fund free education instead.
Hawa serikali wanasema ya kwamba ati ile kazi kubwa wamefanya ni kutengeneza nyumba. Kuna mtu ana nyumba hapa? Kuna mtu ana nyumba ya serikali hapa? Kunaye? My view, hiyo pesa ya housing levy ipelekwa kwa masomo, mashule yote ya day school iwe free.
Governor Kang'ata asked the Linda Mwananchi team to work closely with former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua in order to liberate the country from what he described as bad leadership.
Sifuna wakiwa na Babu na Orengo watafuta wa Munyoro. Sindio? Watafuta nani? Watafuta nani? Mimi hakuna kitu nataka. I only want a better Kenya. A Kenya ambayo tuna create employment kwa vijana wetu, si ndio? Kenya ambayo ita create a better healthcare. A Kenya which is going to create a better education system so that vijana wetu wote wapate kazi, si ndio?
Last month, Governor Kang'ata declared he will not defend his seat on the United Democratic Alliance ticket in 2027, warning that the party led by President Ruto was repeating the persecution tactics that once swept it to power. Opposition leaders want the government to do more to mitigate rising fuel prices a day after the Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority slashed 10 shillings off the price of diesel in the latest fuel pricing cycle as earlier directed by President Ruto. Speaking in Bungoma, DAP Kenya leader Eugene Wamalwa and his Wiper counterpart Kalonzo Musyoka said the move will do little to alleviate the economic pressures currently burdening households and businesses.
ati wamepunguza na cent 22, sio hata shilingi kwa petroli. Walipandisha na almost 40 shillings, ati wanapunguza tu only 10 shillings kwa diesel. Gharama ya mafuta hapa bei iko juu, kwa hivyo gharama ya maisha iko wapi? Juu.
Wametangaza kupunguza bei ya mafuta na shilingi 10 peke yake. Sisi United Alternative Government tulitangaza kwamba pendekezo letu ni shilingi bei ya mafuta iteremke mpaka shilingi 170. Hii yao wamefanya imebakia 220 shillings per liter. Na bado kwa sababu hiyo gharama ya maisha itazidi kwenda juu.
The price of a litre of petrol now retails at 214.03 shillings in Nairobi from 214.25 shillings. Diesel has dropped to 222.86 shillings per litre from 232 shillings. The price of kerosene remains unchanged. Oil prices fell in early trade in Asia on Monday after Pakistan, which has been mediating an end to the US-Iran war, announced a deal that President Donald Trump said would see the reopening of the key Strait of Hormuz shipping route. Brent crude, the global oil benchmark, was 4% lower at $83.81 a barrel, while US traded oil was down 4.7% at $80.89. Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif said an official signing ceremony would be today in Switzerland. That's the Newswire. I'm Edwin Lisamira.
SpiceFM, Nakuru.
In this country, 6 families and 8,000 Kenyans control 90% of the GDP. We are not a country. We are a plantation. We work for Ruto.
When you're telling the judges court orders are papers or they will not obey court orders, they're sitting and you're seeking orders from them. So how are they supposed to interpret it? Isn't it an oxymoron?
When you see a judiciary that seems to be under some control somewhere, you start questioning. We have very powerful governors, but they don't use their offices to serve the people.
If you are not shameful to do what you are doing, why should we protect you?
I'm human. Everybody's human. So when you're told, kuja tuongee, I mean, you'd be a fool to say, staki kuongea. Conversations have to be had, you know?
People in leadership should only go into leadership if they are ready and willing to change the lot of the people.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
One of the things that are ailing our country is negative ethnicity. You find you as a state officer, instead of thinking as a Kenyan, you think like a tribal person.
Let me tell you something. The biggest problem we have had in this country is a leadership deficit. There is nothing that you are going to do in the process of change if you are not a risk taker. So you really have to pursue your vision to a logical conclusion and even be ready to step on people's toes.
When it comes to the economy, you can run away with it. They say statistics are like bikinis. They reveal a lot, but they conceal the vitals. And so government people would throw statistics at you and tell you they're revealing a lot of information to you, but it's really concealing the real vitals.
We need to get out of that, because when we want to grow our democracy, one basic thing that really requires to be understood by the political class, by all of us, is institutions are critical.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
If we just gloss over issues and hope that time heals, then we might find that in generations to come, we might be back at the same situation. And the whole thing is born of stolen elections.
Spice.
When it comes to the decisions you make, you must be independent. There's no way you can allow one institution to dictate to you how you're going to conduct your operations, how you're going to decide cases. It's a no.
When you weaken the institution to the point where they cannot take action, then you realize that politicians have to come up and now start dealing with the issues.
That conversation has to die. Our politicians do not like the hard stuff. We must insist
on the path of doing things right, whether popular or unpopular.
Money changes hands. That is a fact. If you have political goodwill at the highest top, like in Rwanda, then corruption will be an issue of the past. If you don't have political goodwill at the top, we will pass laws, we will amend laws, we will continue passing laws and re-amending laws, and nothing will happen.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM.
A very good morning to you at 9 minutes after 7 o'clock and into the 15th of June, right in the middle of the 6th month of the year. And it's all open road from here because it's coming quickly. We're getting into our conversation this hour. If you're just tuning in, our live streams are up on YouTube, Facebook, and on X. And a very good morning to our audience that clicks in on KTN. And even as you do that, you need to be powered up to face the day. And how are we doing that this week, Dennis?
Now, let me tell you. Every other time when you're waking up coming to work,
why?
Is your vehicle, right? That is so synonymous with who we are as a people.
Why?
But then, it depends with the kind of battery that you have in your vehicle for you to be able to ignition, then you go.
I have to admit, I love the onomatopoeia this morning.
You get what I mean? So then, we keep on talking about systems, but here we're talking about individuals and the kind of vehicles that we have nowadays. So you have your modern tech in there, you have your hybrid systems in there, but you need a battery that is able to serve you right. Now enter chloride exide battery, right? It is that to ensure that you're able to move from point one to point B, that all your electronics in your car happen and work. It's not that you want to unapandisha kio instead of kwenda juu na kwamo it goes down. No, it will ensure that each and every system works. You talk about your AC in your vehicle with the kind of weather that you're experiencing right now because of climate change. You need to cool your vehicle, because it is also cold. You need to heat your vehicle. That battery will ensure you get that. But this battery is not just another battery out there. Well, what does it do? So it has engineering the perfect solution with their premium exide battery, including the exide matrix. So go ask for chloride exide battery, but the exide matrix, chef's kiss, is the one that makes it happen. So these are future-ready powerhouses designed to seamlessly handle heavy vehicle electronics. So every battery comes with a rock-solid 18-month warranty.
How we go?
18-month warranty is 1.5 years, where if anything happens during that period, you are assured that they will sort you out, give you that battery to ensure that your quality of life is good, that your vehicle continues to and moves, do not get stuck by the side of your road. So ask for any Exide brand at any chloride Exide outlet and authorized dealers countrywide, because battery ni
chloride Exide.
Bas.
Sindio?
Itoshe.
All right. And that's how we're powering through the week, definitely. So we'll keep giving you information about how and where you can pick up one for yourself. All right. So as we get into our conversations this week, over the last couple of days, we've been confused, bothered, been in a spot of bother as to, how do things work exactly? When you know that you have a tripartite system in government where the judiciary, where the legislature and the executive work in tandem. One is not lord over the other, but it is across board. But then we start to ask ourselves, the system of government that you have, is it actually working for Kenya? And if it were to work, then what must you do? That we've been at crosshairs with the system and saying, why wouldn't then members of parliament just do what they're supposed to do? All right, well, let's get into it this morning, because that conversation was spearheaded, parliamentary versus presidential system, what works for Kenya. Odhiambo Otieno, political analyst and communication analyst, is with us this morning. Very good to see you in the color of champions. Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning, how are you?
Very well, thank you.
Nice to see you in the mustard.
See, this is a man who knows his colors. There's a yellow. No.
Not yellow.
Not yellow.
Taka yellow and the political rally.
Mustache, get it right. Hey, we see that you're in fine form this morning. Good morning, Karibu Sana.
Asante sana. Nice to see you for a long time.
Indeed, very good.
I was in Kakamega.
You were? Okay. For all this time, or just
so many things happening there which are atrocious.
Oh no.
Okay.
Boy, I have a feeling that some of that is going to come into this conversation today.
Okay.
And that atrocity will be shared. All right, we'll talk into it. Kidogo. Dennis has taken us now not to Kakamega, but to the Kakamega for Western Africa. Guinea-Bissau.
Guinea-Bissau.
That's the Kakamega voice.
Well,
that can be interpreted. But anyway,
okay, so
the national team is called the Jurtus. Jurtus.
Okay.
Which means wild dogs.
Wow.
The national football team. All right. So when you go to Guinea-Bissau, in Kenya, you come see lions, hippos, but there you go to see specific hippos that can swim in salty water.
Oh.
Yes. And then it is also a beautiful country because when you talk about climate change, they have huge mangrove forests because it is an archipelago where they have several islands then within the country. And they're also big producers of cashew nuts, Suleiman Njeri should visit Guinea-Bissau. You know? Yeah, but let's go to the proverb. The moon moves slowly, but it crosses the whole sky. The moon moves slowly, but it crosses the whole sky. How would you interpret it?
The moon moves slowly, but it crosses the whole sky. Consistency bears fruit because the moon moves at a particular pace and goes round the whole sky. So consistency then makes a lot of sense in that interpretation. That if you're consistent at a particular pace, then you will reach the destination. I think that's my simplest interpretation.
And the moon just doesn't care. I will start as a crescent. Then the other is called
just shapes.
And then comes full moon. Or decides to disappear and you don't see it.
True.
But it is closing.
But it's there.
But it's there.
Okay. Let's start with some definitions this morning.
Yes.
Presidential system, parliamentary system. What are those?
Good. So these are political systems of governance in different democracies. These only apply in democracies. They don't apply in autocracies. When we're talking about presidential system, we're talking about a popular person being elected as the executive head of state and also the head of government in a nation by way of universal suffrage. A parliamentary system is where we are having power vested within parliament instead of the president. So that means that we have a prime minister who heads the government and who sits within parliament. And we have ministers who are largely elected from within parliament or appointed from within parliament. And a president who is also elected or nominated from within parliament and not from the majority or from the popular vote. Now, these two systems sit in this fashion that when you talk about a presidential system, it is absolute.
Okay.
And perhaps the reason as to why I would like us to share a little bit more about it is because in absolutism, there's no virtue. Whatever exists in absolutism is absolute vices.
Okay.
All right. Now, when you're having a system where there are no virtues, it implies people have a free fall. That's why you see the presidential system structured in a way that the president can never be prosecuted. The president is accountable to none. In fact, to none.
Just to God.
Maybe. Because sometimes they also think that they're better than God in some states. They think that they can even take away life. In some states, we've seen it in this part of the world. And in a parliamentary system, we look at the prime minister sitting at the edge of the seat throughout, and issues of oversight being consistent throughout the term. And there's no permanence, as unlike the presidential system. In a presidential system, removing a president is extremely difficult. It brings about military overreach most of the time when they see an opportunity. You saw when people went to the street in June 2024, the military were released into the street. And one of the cautions that people like us give was that is a very dangerous precedence because the military can exploit it. Because power itself the absolute sense of power exists in ultimate violence.
To corrupt, absolutely.
Yeah, so if one person is extremely violent, then they beat you to submission, and the military has absolute violence within them. If they say, the president Kachini, what will you do? Will you say that signing papers is what will make you a president? They will sit down. Already they've taken over. And once the military are the custodians of the constitution. That's what I've always said, that the military is the only body that can suspend the constitution and rule by decree.
Right. So can two of these systems of government operate simultaneously?
No, they can't.
So how come in Kenya, you had a president, executive power, but then you also had a prime minister who, to some extent, then oversaw certain things and to an extent had an element of power?
It was, and that's why actually from 2003 to 2012, we had a mongrel kind of government in this country. Because in the first instance, power was vested in two people, Raila Odinga, the late, and Mwai Kibaki, the president substantive. But remember this fellow called Matere Kereri, who locked the gates of State House, and told Oburu Oginga and Raila Odinga that hakuna serikali ya pembe mbili. Yeah, there'll not be a government that has two centers like now we're having in Senegal, right? And of course that was that. But in 2005, then we had to start seeing a pure division, which means power. We had two very powerful people, one executive, another one lacking in the streets, and commanding half of the cabinet out of cabinet. That shows you how power works. Now, in 2008, the promise that was made in 2002 came to be, and that was Raila to be prime minister. And then what did they give him? It was not a clear premiership. It was a compromise premiership, where you were being given because we appreciate that you're a man who had the votes, but we are the people with the power. We are the ones who announced, but you're the one with the votes. And then we had that kind of organization where at one point we had Honorable Raila complaining about a half carpet and no toilet and not even the chief attending the prime minister's meeting. That shows you the level of lack of structure within that framework that led to us having that weak premiership or a mongrel kind of governance between these two. Parliamentary system dictates that the prime minister is elected from the coalition of the majority in parliament. Absolute presidency or presidential system wants that power comes from the people. Okay? In a presidential system, basically what we're having something called dual legitimacy challenges, where we're having a president getting popular mandate from the people directly. Then you're also having a parliament elected by the people. These two are powerful. These are actually two centers of power. Now, interestingly, in the presidential system, as we have today, you can see, and across the world where there are presidential systems, you will see a co-opting of the parliament and taking over of the parliament. And in some instances, you will find the executive taking over even the judiciary. In some instances, in Kenya, we are lucky that the judiciary has come of age because people are looking beyond Kenya today. People are looking at their careers beyond the country. They want to go and be judges in ICC. They want to go to the UN, etc. So they've grown. You cannot just close them down in this country. Now, in places where there is absolute parliamentary system like the Westminster model, which is what I love most, there's no harm in pushing out a prime minister. At any moment,
you can change them anytime.
Yeah, anytime. You can wake up and say, "I'm pissed off with the Prime Minister Dennis. We are going to pass a vote of no confidence in him." And the state does not collapse because the system is very strong. We don't have to wait for 5 years to have a new president because one day is too long in the life of any person, I believe. Because if we have poor health decisions being made by a presidential system, a parliamentary system will sort it easily. That if it is not working, then during the PMQs, that's the Prime Minister's question, the Prime Minister is held to account. And he knows if you don't, or she knows that if you don't do well, if you don't respond to the people properly, you're going to lose.
And this Prime Minister belongs to a party. as it were.
Belongs to a coalition.
A coalition,
yes.
Right?
Yes.
So they already have a political side. But the system, as you say, is so strong that it holds this individual to account.
Yes.
That regardless of your political affiliation, you will not mess around with the system. And that anybody from either side, in this case, can come and tell you, excuse me, sir, madam, this is not what we agreed on.
Yes.
Can you now
step aside?
Yeah.
Okay. And we don't have to go to the streets. The reason that's why I'm saying that, I have sat, and I'm not a prophet, I have sat and looked at the structure of Kenya, and I want us to dig back into 30 years of our democracy from today. You will find that there's one common denominator or one stabilizer that has helped the country. Whenever the country was going or was edging towards collapse, there's one person who was helping us, and that's Raila Odinga. People know that this gentleman was very altruistic, died to self, and gave himself to the country. That even in the instances where many democracies in Africa will not allow, that he knows very well he has won an election, he still stepped back and said, you know what, let's first prioritize the country. Now, this fellow is not there. Now, we don't have that denominator. So what is happening? In 2028, be it President Ruto coming back, be it Kalonzo getting the presidency, be it Sifuna, whoever comes back to power or whoever gets that power, I can tell you within 2 years, we will have a midterm question. Always, if you dig back 30 years, there's always a midterm question. What is a midterm question? Is that after 2 or 3 years, the government often goes into a reset mode because the time remaining is too short, the time they've covered is too short, because it's normally in the middle of the term. Now, when that occurs, the biggest challenge then becomes, how do we move and who do we need to kick out? We have rewarded, now we need to go to legacy. Or we have not rewarded, we need to reward. And also we need to have our legacy projects. Now, people are kicked out. When people are kicked out, these people, normally, most of them are very powerful. They go back to the streets. We've seen them now coalescing elsewhere. And when they go back to the street, what are they doing? They're preparing to uproot the government as is. Now, when we are having a midterm question, for example, in this country, in 2-3 years from today, the biggest question we'll be having is the debt question still. We will want to run away from it and do however much we want. But we are coming back to the debt question in 2-3 years because we are not able to pay these monies. That's the fact. Now, let's say Rigathi Gachagua gets to be president. A miracle happens and he gets to be president.
Okay, don't say what you think, but okay.
Yeah. A miracle happens and Kalonzo gets to be president. Or a revolution happens and your friend Sifuna gets to be president. The first question he has to deal with is the debt question. The second question he has to deal with is the economic question for Kenyans, especially the employment thing. The third question he has to deal with is balancing political interests. Now, one of these things must give way for the other to exist. For example, let's read from Senegal. Two gentlemen, popular, both of them. In fact, one not very popular, but now is the president. All going in with the question of change. All of them are in agreement that, hey, this country has a problem. The problem we have is we have a debt issue. This debt issue is disturbing us. We have bad governance issues. We need to correct something here. So let's move then. They go to the presidency. The other one is appointed prime minister. Faye remains as the president. What happens? In 2-3 years, they're already at odds. Why? Faye, being the president, now realizes, oh, wait a minute. Something is here that requires administrative spine.
Yeah.
Which, unfortunately, popular vote or popular interest will not understand. Because once you're elected president, you are now the president. You have to make decisions as a what? As a president. And we all know that the presidency is a club. In the whole world, once you enter the presidency, you have entered a club. And now you'll find yourself at a different level compared to anybody else. And advisors, IMF, World Bank, World, all of them tell you, presidents from former colonies or former colonizers coming to tell you, no, we can do this, we can do that. And the deals that are being made there are too secretive. In fact, in Kenya today, those secrets are declared top secret and you will never access them until 30 years after the regime has left. Can you imagine what Faye could have met when he was elected president? And his intelligence service now comes to him and tells him, so these are the things we're dealing with, Mr. President. Things that you didn't know as a politician running your mouth in the street. Do you understand? So the things now we are dealing with, one is that the loan that we took is not $2 billion. It's actually 13 billion. But you cannot tell the people that it was 13 billion. Because if you say it was 13 billion, we are going to have civic disobedience. If you say it was 13 billion, or IMF is already coming for us, what they want is for us to have economic restructuring of our country. That means we're going to have layoffs. We're going to reduce parastatals. We're going to reduce government employees. We're going to reduce ABC. We're going to freeze development. What does that do for you? Is that the politicians are going to start making noise because the politicians don't have access to the classified information. But you as a president, you have the classified information. And also you've sworn an oath of secrecy that you cannot go around speaking about these things. So once you enter that club, you realize these are the realities you're dealing with. And now it is too difficult. You have a popular prime minister who, by the way, put you into power. What do?
He essentially said, Faye Tosha.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what do? You say, when a prime minister, and they talked, interestingly, unlike Kenya, those guys talked on phone. And they agreed that, I don't like the way you're moving. Faye told Osman Sonko, I don't like the way you're moving. This move is going to hurt me because of ABCD. Then Osman Sonko told Faye, then for me to move in that fashion, because PASTEF is the biggest party, and you still need to form government through PASTEF, then let's sit and talk. But you see, the president could not accept that because the advisors then, the sainthood around the presidency, then tells him no. Because now they too, the kitchen cabinet, they too understand that secret that now they've come to know, to understand after being briefed by the intelligence services there or by the economic, whatever, the superior guys there. What do? You have to push out a prime minister. What does the prime minister do? He goes out back into the streets. What does that do for you in a presidential system? You face political instability. When you face political instability, what happens is that your country is going down. Definitely, it's going down. Senegal, in West Africa, I know you know this better than all of us, is one of the most stable democracies that has never faced a coup since independence. For the first time, if not for this fellow called Osman Sonko today, they would be out in the streets. But the fellow has understood the level of power that he has. And he said, I'm not going to use this power to frustrate the presidency. We're going to use this power to still maintain the course. As much as now I'm coming into the National Assembly, we still have to steer the ship in the right direction, not to destabilize our nation. But how many prime ministers or how many ex-prime ministers will do that in Africa?
Difficult.
There are very few. Please.
But I hear you speak in terms of the challenges that we find ourselves in. But then again, if we have a system that works and individuals in these offices who swear to protect sovereignty of nations, then there is no problem. So are we saying that our problem then is the people we have in office, perhaps?
Well, if you study societies properly, you'll understand that societies operate around systems. And societies begin from families. In a family, there's a system. And the system is basically how things run. There are decisions that are made by children. In fact, children will always have desires. They communicate these desires either by crying or alternative means to their parents or guardians. Then their guardians will sit and ponder about these desires and see if they can meet the desires, then agree on how to meet these desires. Okay? Now, once they agree, then somebody, either the mom, or it depends who holds the power, because in many families, mothers actually hold the power in decision making. You can't do anything, they will tell you. Okay? So the mother decides. Now, societies also work in that manner. So the father in a family, for me, I always say, is the leader of that family. The final decision rests with the father. But the governor of the house is the woman. In fact, even you, Aseto, I'm sure, in your house today, you cannot make main decisions of day-to-day running of that house. You cannot even buy a chair in that house unless your wife says yes.
Inshallah.
Even the quality. Oh, inshallah.
Politics.
So, now let's transform that to the national scale. Are our problems system problems, or are they attitude problems in this country? I can tell you, if you understand societies, you'll understand that the biggest problem we have is a systems problems and not society problems. Because, of course, human behavior is in that particular, and it's always dynamic. It's fast shifting.
Okay. Sorry, so just that we've come to the system. So are we saying that governments and their way of operation were based on the presupposition that a system was going to be in place that everybody's already agreed, this is the system, we are following it. But now what is going to change? Understanding that human beings by their nature will change or will be a certain way. That it is very difficult for you to put all human beings in a room and tell them to behave the same way. That's why you have a system. What we are not going to do is tell you how to behave. What we are going to tell you is that the system is already in place. Follow the system. Do everything else that you need to do. So governments were formed with the basic understanding that a system is in place which ought to be followed. Now, would you say that successful governments are those which follow the system, but that the politics of the day in terms of how the government will run then is change, malleable, can move?
Very good question. And that's why we always say political goodwill. You've heard of this term. People say, oh, political goodwill, even for the banks. Political goodwill. You go to the market, political goodwill. Why do you think they always talk about goodwill? Because we know that human behavior will always supersede systems. For example, there's a friend of mine, he sat here severally, Joshua Nyamori. When, I think it was the Swedish embassy or something, that wanted to revamp Jomo Kenyatta sports ground in Kisumu. In that sports ground, just a quick definition, in that sports ground, there were 2 gates only. But people started forming panya routes across the fences. And when they wanted to redo this Jomo Kenyatta sports ground, Joshua, I remember telling me, he took this ambassador and went and sat at a hotel opposite, rooftop of that hotel, and they observed how human beings were behaving and said, don't interfere with their behavior. In fact, enhance it. Because their behavior tells you who they are and how they want their things run. So let's have the goodwill of these people to buy into what we want. And they created about 7 gates on the panya routes that these guys were doing what? Were using. So it became, the sports ground became a place where, would I call it a junction? No? A transition point where people would come and would pass through it. And then they formed an information desk on Kisumu or about Kisumu in Jomo Kenyatta Sports Ground. Now let's borrow that and say, in the national scale of issues of governance and systems, human behavior will always supersede systems. And that's why we always say, politics supersede the law. By the way, it does. Because politics will change the law. So when, in a situation where we're having governance questions like we do in this country and any other country, and the biggest question we're having here is the system effective? The system is not effective because it is dependent on one person, who is the president, in an absolute format of a presidential system.
And that cannot be.
It is what it is right now. Because today, study the country critically. Do we have a parliament?
Well, I mean, there's a building and there are people in it.
Yeah, there's a building and there are people in it. But do we have the goodwill? Because we're talking about now human behavior. Do we have the goodwill? Do we have a correct attitude in parliament? Why don't we have it? Is it because there's patronage from a particular position in this country?
Well, let's look at the way things happen in parliament. That it's interesting because people have sat here and told us that there have been few or no people-centered bills that have come before Parliament have been discussed and then implemented. Others have come and say, well, the business of the day has been what the president's agenda is. And so that's what members of Parliament are going to. We have had things which are current processes in Kenya that have been passed in Parliament where there's been no quorum, and we know what the Constitution says about how you should pass things. And that if you listen, because we have the opportunity to do that every day. If you listen to proceedings, which are on record, by the way, if you listen to proceedings, that the lines are already drawn in Parliament, which is a legislative body, the lines are drawn politically.
Yes.
That even somebody who has not been lobotomized can hear that something doesn't make sense. But because of the political side that they are on, they will take that side, even if it doesn't make sense.
So
that's what's going on.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. If we look at human behavior in regards to the question you are talking, or the comment you're making, you understand that we have the question of morals versus objectives. And I'm saying Parliament ideally should be a cathedral of morals, where conscience of the country sits. Because in this country today, we'll ask ourselves, where does the conscience of the country sit? Does it sit in parliament? Does it sit in state house? Does it sit in the judiciary? Most probably today you look at the judiciary and say, there's semblance of the conscience of the country there. In parliament, there is seemingly patronage, absolute patronage. And parliamentarians, because it's a presidential system, they don't know what to do. Like, our hands are tied. And most of those parliamentarians are criminals.
I mean, I beg to differ that parliamentarians find themselves in a point where their hands are tied. Because if you look at the system, let's use the constitution that we have, absolute power does not even belong to the president. Absolute power, one would say, belongs to parliament, who are the representatives of the people. You get? But that we find ourselves in political bad manners where parliament itself has allowed itself to have its hands tied. It's not necessarily because the hands are tied, it's because they do not understand their purpose to be in that cathedral of morals. So they have let go the system that protects them, which is the people, and have allowed themselves to be used by the guy who sits in that office that has no power anyway.
So let's just on that. So let's analyze parliament as you're talking about it, and look at parliament in the sense of what could they do alternately. Look at the political parties process in this country. If the party takes a position and you go against it, what happens?
You're ousted.
You're ousted, or you're punished by your political party. When you're punished by your political party, what happens on the ground? You lose your legitimacy, and which means the next election you're gone. Okay, because you're going against the party, and the party is popular where you come from, you will go home. Now, for us to have a sober framework where things are operating properly in this country, if we reintroduce conscience, mark the word that I'm using, if we reintroduce conscience in this country, and we want to look at issues as the way they should be, not from the way they are. Because, for example, quickly, today if we look at the question of education, why are we having CDA, 40% of it going to bursaries? Why are we having governors having money being given to bursaries? Why are we having MCAs also wanting bursaries? Why are we having the president also having some pocket money where he can give bursaries? In a sober state, in a sober parliament or a parliamentary system, parliamentarians would sit because it's their conscience, collective conscience of the nation. They sit and say, instead of having these funds independently, doing these small monies for students, can we have free basic education?
Take that money and fund the thing.
Fund the thing. Fund the thing. Don't give me it. I don't need patronage. Let's make systems that work. Okay? Let's have the Kenya Education Trust Fund. That in the instance, we have extremely brilliant people and poor who cannot manage. We have a fund that takes care of them because we are a republic. A republic is a democracy that cares about the least in the community, the most vulnerable in the community. Okay? Now, if we go with the definition that Parliament's hands are tied, why are their hands tied? It's because the system that is there asks Parliament to please look at the house on the hill and do what is best for the house on the hill. Because the stability of the state is vested in the house on the hill. And what happens there?
Stability of the state is not vested in the house, the August house, because one would say...
From what it is today, it is vested in the house on the hill.
Because they've chosen for it to be like that.
Because the system...
Because, follow me through that. Follow my train of thought, right?
All right.
Today, members of parliament would not be punished by their political parties based off decisions they make inside parliament. It is based off what they do outside parliament. Because members of parliament are protected by standing orders and by the house they serve based off decisions they make in there. But any other thing that members of parliament do outside that contravene the position of the party, then that is where they get punished. That today members of parliament have forgotten the powers they have, and they think that whatever they do outside as well applies in the house, goes to show that we have individuals in those positions who do not understand their roles or the powers that have been given to them by that house.
And that's why you get it wrong. Now, understand what I'm trying to say here. That parliamentarians are not forgetting their roles. Parliamentarians know their roles, but they're being patronaged by their political parties. At the end of the day, look at America. Look at, any other country that is running a presidential system. When they are electing parliamentarians into parliament, at the end of the day, in the ultimate format, what is a parliamentarian? He's a vote. He's a vote for the party. That when a bill is presented, when an impeachment is occasioned, the parliamentarian is not just him. He's a vote for the party. And by the way, the most painful punishments that happen to parliamentarians is not what they say out of parliament, is what they do inside parliament. Because the ultimate betrayal of the party is when you go against your party in parliament. But you see, in some instances, you need to go against your party. When you look at your conscience and a bill has been brought, an impeachment has been brought in parliament, you'll be like, no, gentlemen and ladies, this is not the right thing to do. Let's think independently. Now, look at the process of decision making and understand that the most painful thing that somebody can deny you is not freedom to walk. It's not freedom to do any other thing. It is freedom to think independently. Freedom to make an autonomous decision where you are granted all the decisions or all the information that you need to have to arrive at an independent decision that collectively reflect the independence of thought in parliament. Today, we cannot have independence of thought in parliament because there's political patronage. But in the instance, Dennis, that we have parliamentarians being allowed to think the way they should because they're electing a prime minister, even the political party's conscience will rise. They'll be like, oh, wait a minute. So now we can make decisions as individuals, then go and talk at the party level. Then whatever we agree is what we go and do in parliament. Today, you just need a political party leader of a particular party and X, Y, Z, maybe 3 or 4 political parties.
To say this is our position.
They're political party leaders. Once the political party leader says this is the position, no member is allowed to go against it. Because those things they call NDCs, NECs that they meet at are basically stamps.
Then it's flawed from the beginning.
It's flawed from the beginning.
It's flawed from the beginning because in parties where they followed what the idea of a political... And this is the thing. If you adopt the method, then you should at least follow the methodology.
Exactly.
That a political party is meant to push an ideology, and that we say, no matter what happens, you wake us up in the middle of the night, the ideology can spew from our mouths and we remember what it is that we're fighting for. It could be an economy that works. It could be a social welfare system that works. It could be focusing on the environment. It could be focusing on social justice. But those are the ideologies upon which a party has been based on.
So let's
now,
look at,
the problem, it sounds like what you're saying is that parties have just coalesced around somebody. And that's the reason why you will not be able to get into parliament and find that somebody's pushing an agenda because from the very beginning it was flawed.
Exactly.
Is that the thing?
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. In a parliamentary system, the electorate will now know that, hey, the decision you're making of electing a parliamentarian is not just because this parliamentarian is aligned to person X. It is because this parliamentarian is going to represent you, the sovereign. Is going to elect a prime minister or possibly will be a prime minister. So you're not just going to elect any Tom, Dick and Harry. Today, and perhaps let me say this, no pun intended to these parliamentarians. If you compare this parliament, this one we have today, I don't know if it's the 13th or whatever, compared to the one of Otiato Marende. This is a joke. This is Sunday school of
Sunday
law.
school might be better.
Sunday school may be better, actually.
That's structures, actually.
All right? But this one here, it is hero worship. It has turned into a choir. That's why the people went on and impeached this parliament. In a proper structured format, you will have people, the electorate, being aware that, hey, we are electing a person and not just a party. The person must be of quality before we look at the party is coming from. And even the parties will want to elect people who are of substance. Let's look at all the democracies where parliamentary system is working, and especially Israel and Westminster. Okay? In Israel, somebody may want to argue, parliamentary system will have instability, we'll be having snap elections here and there. If you don't work, the people today are saying, don't vote for these parliamentarians who are today in parliament because they disobeyed us. In a parliamentary system, you don't have to wait. We'll go into a snap election.
Wake up in the morning.
So the parliament is not agreeing. They go into a snap election. So what happens? Their conscience is awakened that we have to move. We cannot have consensus paralysis. We have to agree. We have to act. the people are watching. We are acting on behalf of the people, not on our own behalves. Today, we're having a parliament that is acting on its own behalf and serving the interests of its masters. And most of them, by the way, are business people who have gone there to look for tenders and who have gone to protect some selfish interests, which some of us are aware of, wash. Some of us are aware of. They've done some dirty things when they were in government. Now, because if you're out of government, you'll be ostracized. You must be in parliament so that you have a vote. That vote of yours, you can brandish it when they come for you. Hey, you know, don't try me. I will vote against you. And akufinya, you know. So we must have a different view of how we are talking about our election processes and how we're talking about what Kenyans truly desire for themselves. Political stability, solving the issue of the ethnic representation question. Because in a parliamentary system, a Mijikenda will become a prime minister because of merit. In a parliamentary system, we could elect a Digo, we could elect a Kisi, who, by the way, are very excellent. We could elect a Kamba, we could elect a Teso to become a what? A prime minister. Who then oversees government, or who then runs government. And he is subjected to proper questioning day in, day out on the floor of parliament.
The issues that brought some of the countries of which you give examples this morning were so clear in their minds. The issues were so clear in their mind that either they could not allow this kind of thing to happen, or they wanted to be sure that they were protected. So they were involved in their governance from the very beginning as people. Would that have been the reason why then it was easier, and I want to use that word very cautiously, easier for them then to set up a system whereby they were able to say, this is the system because never again. This is the system that we are going to follow. No matter who comes in tomorrow, we are going to ensure that you follow this. You can have your political affiliations, you can have your political thoughts, thinking, who wants to get ahead, because this filibustering that we're talking about, everybody does it. It doesn't matter whether you're in America, Japan, wherever, everybody does it. However, the system is sacrosanct, and we will say, we will not allow corruption, we will call it out, that the president will not come and lord him or herself over us in terms of how they operate, that we are all thinking and we're working towards a common goal. Now, the politics comes into place whereby it's based on an ideology. The Republicans will not go in a certain direction. The Democrats will not go in a certain direction because that is what they believe. However, they will work within the system to ensure that their ideologies come out to play. Could that be what's missing? If that is even an example that you want to use?
Yes, I would say yes. Yeah. Because one, in Kenya, what is our basic foundation? Our basic foundation is identity. From where we come from. Hunger is one. But even in hunger, we think I'm hungry as a Luo.
No, I'm just hungry.
Yeah, I'm hungry as a Luo. I'm not hungry as a Kenyan. I'm hungry as a Luo.
People are still thinking like that?
People think like that. The basic formation of our politics, of our identity, is politics of ethnicity. In fact, clanism. Clanism, Nduh. If you sink into the deep ends of gubernatorial contest in this country today, you will find that however high they are, people are looking at themselves from the clan level. Now, how does that then come to what you're talking about? Once people still look at themselves at the level of identity, then it means we cannot just superimpose or import another kind of democracy and think it will work for us. In America, they're almost homogeneous. We know they're Native Americans, then we know there are people who are coming in from all over. In fact, America is a country of immigrants, coming in from all over, and they have to align on ideologies. In Kenya, do people align on ideologies?
No.
People align on identity.
Identity.
Now, the identity is what? Tribalism, not ideological identity. It is tribalistic or ethnical identity. Now, when they are working on ethnical identities, then it means for you to form a proper political outfit, it must sit within those confines and defines. Now, when they go to parliament, they're still going to vote as what? As ethnicities. In terms of the presidential system, they're looking at, want to talk to a president, want to talk to a deputy president. It is no longer about our issues as a country. It's about mtu wetu. People are not looking at what works for everybody in the state. They're looking at what works for me or what works for my people.
So how do you change that? Because essentially you're saying that you have two systems of government that can be employed within a democracy.
Yes.
And if you're saying that one, from what you're saying in Kenya or in a lot of African countries at the moment, that doesn't really work because the political head will be the president. And it is what they want at the time that will be filtered through the different points of representation.
Right.
So how do you change that? Because clearly it doesn't work.
Good. So how you change that is this. By the time we move to the parliamentary system, which is something that we have to do, and actually let me say why we are moving to a parliamentary system. It has to happen. Why we have to move to a parliamentary system is because we were in a political freedoms era. We were clamoring for political freedoms. Now, there's been a hangover and an overlap of leaders and ideologies. Political freedom champions or freedom fighters are still existing around economic freedoms. The two cannot sit together. These are two from a bygone era. In an economic freedom era or an economic reform era, you need people who are thinkers, who understand the economy, who are going there for the people, who are not going there to say, Apua being ostracized out of government. It's about, is there merit? Because economy does not appreciate tribalism. Economy appreciates money in the bank. Things working out. Are the trains working? Is the transport system working? Is the hospital working? These things have nothing to do with what? With tribes. These things simply need people who can reason and develop policies or laws that work for the people. Now, this moment, once the collective conscience of the country is sensitized, that now we are moving to the economic freedom space, or we are moving to a position now we are a little bit more mature, because right now, if you look at Kenya and democracies around Africa, Kenya could be the second or the third, if not the first, in terms of maturity. So it means we can sustain the shocks of political freedoms. It is already there. If you play around with the political freedoms, the courts are there. If you play around, Article 1 of the Constitution gives us the power as the people to move into the street and cause civic disobedience. And you will not govern anything. You will become ungovernable. So you must agree with us. Now, in that sense, now we move to understand that, hey, in the question of economic freedoms, in the question of the common good of every human being in this country, one thing that is important and popular that we must appreciate is we need people who are thinkers. We can elect a Muindi, we can elect a white man, we can elect Nduh from Nigeria to come and represent us in Kabondo Kasipul, where I come from. Okay? Because Nduh, being married there or staying there or being a citizen who has been naturalized and is speaking proper issues, can go to parliament and actually properly articulate our issues, the issues of the people.
Yeah. Would you reckon that the country is at that point at the moment? Because fine, you'd argue that the country still is at that point where we're thinking through our clans, through our ethnic space. But now that we look at the alternative way or structure of governing, or what would make things work in the country, perhaps we need to change that. Are Kenyans having these conversations? Are we pushing this conversation towards that point where merit takes credence as opposed to mtuwetu? We want to protect our person, we want to protect our resources.
And that brings me to the point which I started with Nduh, where I was talking about Kakamega and the ills that are happening there. You look at whatever happened. I don't know whether you guys are aware that yesterday a school bus having children in it was attacked because somebody wants to be governor there. Okay? And it's somebody who, when he comes here, he talks the best of his at the top of his voice. Okay? The former senator there. And his people attacked a car that was carrying children that he thought these people belonged to Governor Barasa, which is not true, because they're doing politics of identity, politics of who ni mtu wetu. We want this fellow to become the governor of Kakamega. Now we operate with violence. If you've seen clips online, this fellow has people carrying rungus and shouting against the sitting governor. That's not how things should work. And beating people literally in the streets because they're doing politics of what? Of identity. Ni mtu wetu tunataka kuwe pale. If we went for merit, and we want to truly talk about merit in terms of even governors or even MPs, we will shift from that thinking of, let us not look at Dennis Aseto because he's a Luo, I'm going to have him there.
What must we do for that shift?
What we must do is one, actually there are two ways. One, we will face a rebirth. And there's no rebirth that is painless. Rebirths are painful. very painful. And rebirth simply mean we go into a revolution and our conscience is pricked and say, oh, wait, we've killed 1 million people, like Rwanda. Because we were talking about this tribe should not lead. It's a common talk that is going around this country right now. And NCIC is just quiet. This person should not lead us, or this tribe has overeaten. They need to get out.
So we can do it.
We can't do that. What we have to agree on is you, and SpiceFM has been doing this for a long time. My starting of watching SpiceFM was because you guys are having proper discussions that elevate the thinking of the commoner, the thinking of the elite, so that we can have a discussion, unlike any other radio station that simply talks about sex in the morning. Here, you've been channeling these kinds of conversation, and today we're having it. If the media generally accepts that we have a problem, and the media appreciates that the media sits beyond the terms of parliamentarians and leaders, then we know that the actual power in the country sits with the media. The actual power actually sits with the media because it's an influence space. We have to reshape how people are thinking. Mm-hmm. And we have to help them see how we can figure out this issue. Because today we could be talking here and somebody will be dismissing and saying, parliamentary system for what? Mm. Because for them, what they're chasing now is legacy in terms of the money they'll pocket in their pockets or in their banks. But the reality is that in 2-3 years, when we are having a political crisis and people are in the streets, they'll say, oh, do you remember Nduh, Aseto and Odhiambo were talking about a parliamentary system? We need to go for that. So the parliamentarians, the people first need to be sensitized enough to know that, hey, the system has shifted. Mm. The stabilizer who was Raila Odinga is now not there. Without him, these politicians, as we see them, are still talking about their tribes and their homes. Mm. We need somebody who can talk properly about issues. And these issues, probably, we're not going to have it around a presidential system. Our issues are going to be discussed in Parliament. Now, let us drive an initiative. Let the lawyers, the political players, who are conscious enough, be bold enough and come out and say, hey, guys, let's do this. Let us shift our constitution. Because the constitution can be amended. The constitution can be redone afresh. And to say we are shifting from a presidential system because it is not working.
It's obvious that some of the ways to have change is to start to acknowledge that there is a need for it in the first place, and to have these conversations indeed, and to move, as we say, to move the needle. It is necessary for us to talk about these things, because we can lament forever and say, oh, well, Parliament should have done it, they didn't. The President should have done it, they didn't. Well, there's a way in which they can. Odhiambo Otieno, thank you very much for joining us this morning, starting off the week in this manner. We'll keep talking. We'll keep giving the examples. We'll keep pricking that conscience. Good morning. It's 8 a.m.
The latest news from around the world. 94.4 Spice FM.
Good morning. This is the Newswire. I'm Edwin Lisamira. The Anglican Church of Kenya has condemned what it describes as an increasing trend of using intimidation, violence and fear to silence Kenyans after goons invaded All Saints Cathedral on Friday and disrupted a post-budget conference. In a statement during the Sunday service, head of SCK Archbishop Jackson Olesapit wondered who owns the goons who attack people in broad daylight and go scot-free. He demanded immediate arrest and prosecution of the goons, failure to which the Inspector General of Police Douglas Kanja should resign. The Archbishop condemned the continued invasion of institutions, saying in situations where young people are recruited to threaten fellow citizens, force replaces dialogue and fear becomes a tool of public engagement. Meanwhile, the National Cohesion and Integration Commission has condemned the attack at All Saints Cathedral, saying any attempt to disrupt lawful gatherings or silence differing opinions through intimidation or violence is a direct affront to the Constitution and the democratic values that bind our nation together. NCIC Chairperson Kefa Omae emphasized that political competition should be guided by ideas, policies and respectful debate, not coercion, violence or fear. He urged young people not to allow themselves to be used by politicians to cause chaos.
Differences in political opinion should never justify acts of aggression or intimidation. The National Cohesion and Integration Commission urges young people not to be exploited for political violence or criminal activities. Kenya's youth are a vital force of innovation, peace, and nation building. Their energy and leadership should be directed towards strengthening democracy.
This event comes as Interior CS Kipchumba Murkomen has confirmed that several suspects linked to the attack at All Saints Cathedral have been arrested, with more expected to be apprehended as investigators analyze CCTV footage captured during the incident. Murkomen termed the incident unfortunate and unacceptable and assured Kenyans that those involved would face the full force of the law. Machakos Deputy Governor Francis Mungai has urged political leaders from Ukambani region to rally behind Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka in the 2027 presidential race. Speaking in Katoloni, Machakos County, Mwangangi emphasized that by supporting Kalonzo, they will enhance the region's political bargaining power on the national stage.
Ukienda Rift Valley utapata watu wameunganika, lakini watu wengine wakitoka huko mbali wakikuja hapa wanatuambia angalieni mtu, msiangalie chama. This time round, I'm urging you, our unity is our strength. Maneno ya vyama vingi hiyo tuachane nayo hiyo. Tuingie tukue mahali moja so that we are not weak at national negotiating table. That is the truth. Hii maneno ya watu kuja na pesa mingi kila mahali wanaenda wanafanya sijui wanapatia wananchi. Confusing is not fair. Let us remain united.
The Kenya National Highways Authority has announced plans to upgrade some 536 kilometers of rural roads and corridors traversing several counties in the Rift Valley region. Speaking during a high-level stakeholder engagement meeting in Narok County, Kenha said the project will be implemented under the Roads and Rural Economic Development Project. The meeting brought together Kenha officials, county leaders and representatives of the national government administration. The Kenha delegation, led by Deputy Director Raila Maswan and South Rift Regional Director Sulati Kabolo, briefed stakeholders on the scope of the project, which aims to improve rural connectivity, enhance access to markets and spur economic growth in agricultural areas. Maswan said the project will involve the upgrading of 4 major inter-county road corridors to bitumen standards. Voters in Switzerland have rejected a proposal to limit the country's population to 10 million. Results showed nearly 55% of participants voted against and 45% voted for, with turnout of 60% of the population. The proposal came from the right-wing Swiss People's Party, which has long campaigned on an anti-immigration platform. The divisive vote risks putting the country's free movement agreement with the European Union in jeopardy and was opposed by the government, Swiss businesses and all the other major parties. Welcoming the no vote, Switzerland's Justice Minister Beat Jans said it was a sign of stability, openness and reliability. Switzerland's population has grown rapidly since 2002, when it stood at 7.3 million. Now it's 9.1 million, 27% of whom are not Swiss citizens. That's the Newswire. I'm Edwin Lisamira.
.5 Spice FM, Kisumu.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
Parliament has got powers. Let me break it down. The National Assembly can initiate an impeachment of the president.
This same
and the
National
Senate,
Assembly.
Yes. That's our constitution.
Because this is just a continuation of the previous administration, which Ruto was part of. President Uhuru himself openly said that we're losing 2 billion daily. Daily. I mean, come on. Are you saying that we don't have a central bank?
If we look at Kenya, both public-private sector, that figure is ranging between 30 to 40%, right?
I think it's clear that the government of Kenya is living beyond its means.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
Every time he kept on saying he wants a vibrant opposition.
How does it make sense
that public money has been used for anything, and then they dare to sell it back to you. Why are they not giving them for free?
That's how broken we are. That's how broken we are.
They're being sent home now for fees. They're going to fail to prepare. We are compromising the futures of these children.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on SpiceFM.
Baba should disown these experts and they say they went there on the, because he keep on telling us that these experts just came from Dubai and he found them there already at State House looking for jobs.
Government has to has to introduce austerity measures. It's something that this government and the previous ones have not been able to do in this country. We've talked about it so many times.
And really, I think you have seen the modus operandi of William Samoei Ruto since he came in. It's just showbiz.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Good morning to you, and we continue our conversations this morning, getting into it at 9 minutes after 9 o'clock. If you're just tuning in, this is the Situation Room, and with Dennis, Aseto, Nduh, Okoh, our live streams continue on YouTube, Facebook, and on X. And good morning to our audience on KTN. You're powering us up this week.
Yes, and I'm giving you power using a brand that has been there, is pretty much the same age as Kenya. So since 1963, chloride exit has been in the market. But I wanted to talk about Nduh. The other day, I went about car shopping. And
you went car shopping?
Car shopping, yeah. It's important. It's important to look at what is there in the market. So I came across LX570.
Well done.
And one thing that stands out with that is the fact that it's premium, it's quality, and it has soft closing doors. So if you are the kind of person who drives around and anyone gets off and wants to close that door, please don't bang it, just push it slightly. The door will do the job. You know, it will do its job. It will just soft close.
Yeah.
But what you need to ensure that all that works is a battery that is reliable, because that is what will power every other system that is in there. You want massage seats, you know, you want heating steering when you're driving along Limuru. What do you need?
Kumba, these are the things you go to look for. Ambassador of what?
Soft life.
Thanks.
You get? So you need a battery that will ensure that all these things work. So you talk about chloride exit, and exit matrix battery is that which will ensure that you get all that. So high-end vehicles need power that matches their what? Please say sophistication.
Sophistication. There you go.
And remember, when you get that battery, you also have 18 months warranty. So 18 months warranty, you are assured that if anything happens, I'm sorted. But that notwithstanding, that this battery will serve you very well. So what are you waiting for? Get on board. Soft closing doors, AC that works, massaging seats, warm seats, and then you also have. Anyway, yes, just go buy yourself chloride exit battery, and matrix chloride is what will ensure you get that quality of life.
Fantastic. All right, so those are the things that we're talking about. Dennis, etc., is powering up us through the week with chloride exide. We're looking at post-budget productivity in public service delivery. That's the conversation that we're having this hour. So the budget was read, but guess what? Doesn't mean that everybody then retreats to their holes and goes to sleep. That there's a lot of stuff that needs to be done to ensure that these things actually happen. We know that it's still up for debate. There's still discussions that are happening, but that we know that implementation is something that's going to have to come through to make this budget effective. To have this conversation with us this morning, CPA Kithinji Kirago is the chairperson of the Intergovernmental Relations Technical Committee, and he's in the hot seat this morning. Good morning.
Good morning, madam.
Karibu sana.
Asante sana.
Thank you for being here with us.
Asante.
We're going to go into this conversation. It's a big one, but before we do that, Dennis goes around the African country, every continent every week. He comes back from a particular African country with their proverbs. We would love to get your interpretation of that.
Yes. Okay. Today we are in Guinea-Bissau. Capital is Bissau. It is a country that has an archipelago, right? And with that is several islands within the country. Right. And one thing that stands out as well is the fact fact that they are huge in mangrove farming, which helps in cleaning the water systems as well, just making sure that the sea creatures as well have their good day. And when we talk about sea creatures, they have hippos that swim in salty water. So if you wanted to travel the country, that is one thing to go experience. But let's go to the proverb. The moon moves slowly, but it crosses the whole sky. The moon moves slowly, but it crosses the whole sky. How would you interpret it? What do you think people from Guinea-Bissau are saying?
I suppose they are saying that, to achieve the ends, to even to conquer the world, is not so much of speed as much as the tenacity which you exercise, to keep on going. And therefore, you'll be able to transverse all the obstacles, all the problems which keep you on slow speed. And ultimately, you achieve your goal as long as you keep going.
Just keep going.
Just keep going.
Yeah. Well said.
Kabisa. So, the budget is more than just the cabinet secretary reading the budget policy statement before Parliament on Thursday. But then after that he's done, that's when the second part of the real work continues. Right. In terms of the implementation of a lot of those policies that have been set out. We also know that it still continues in deliberation in Parliament, and that there are very many interest groups that are still having conversations about what they want changed in the finance bill before it actually becomes an act. It's not too far from now because the new financial year kicks in on the 1st of July. So there are about 2 weeks to have everything done and dusted. But then there's also the implementation process that takes place through the fiscal year.
Right.
Now, what exactly does all of this entail? What's next, essentially, in terms of moves?
I think what is next is, of course, the budget itself, ideally, is backed by plans. It is about, the budget is about implementing the plans which have been laid down. The budget, therefore, once it is passed, it entails at every level preparing work plans to execute the budget for that financial year. Some of it has to do with, of course, completing programs and projects which are already ongoing. But it means, therefore, now it says rolling your sleeves and getting on to, to do the things which are required, and the money then is dispersed following the activities which you are planned to do. That, I think, is the essentials of what's going to happen, and then, of course, there is oversight by others whether that which was agreed is going to be spent. In terms of the intervening period, there is not going to be a lot of room for change in the budget. Of course, some people are arguing about the case for that there is too much taxation. Others, of course, would also want to see certain projects and programs brought into it. But, one of the important things to remember is that the budget preparation process began in August of last year for the budget which will begin in July. So, a lot of activities have gone in, a lot of haggling has gone in to get into the figures that we have at the moment. Therefore, really, short of a national crisis, there cannot be much of a change at the moment. Yes.
But even now, as we talk about the budget that then is before the as you talk about the budget that now is before Parliament, right, there is further discussions or further changes that would come out of the parliamentary process. And with that then, many Kenyans are asking the question, with the budget that we have, there has to be return on investment, because those who are saying we are being overtaxed, but we will pay the tax anyhow. Should the powers that be, that would be Parliament and the government, ensure that Kenyans get value for money, return on investment, for the noise to go down?
Okay. First of all, the announcement, the pronouncement of the budget this week or this last week for Kenya is close to a formality, as contrasted to the budgets of the other East African countries. Because our constitution changed the way we prepare our budget. And therefore, early in the year, the Treasury and other institutions like the Commission for Revenue Allocation prepared figures. They submitted them to Parliament. Therefore, the budget we are looking on now has been cooked between especially Treasury and Parliament, not Treasury alone. In the old times, the budget was done by Treasury, and then Parliament came to debate it. And that is what is happening in the other East African countries. That the budget was done by the National Treasury or by the Ministry of Finance and Planning in those other countries, and then the Treasury, then the Parliament has come to look at those figures and change them and so on. But this budget is essentially also a budget from Parliament. And that makes a lot of difference. Yes.
When you say it's a budget from Parliament, expound on that a little bit.
As I say, because under the Constitution, Parliament, under the current Constitution, Parliament of Kenya has a primary responsibility for preparing the budget. And that's why we have even a parliamentary budget committee and budget office and so forth. In the old days, in the more days of Kepake and before, before we had the new constitution, Parliament had very little inputs into the initial drafting of the budget. It was the work of technocrats in the Ministry of Finance then, or the National Treasury as we call it today. And therefore Parliament was not privy to the things which are going to be presented by the Cabinet Secretary. But these times, it is Parliament which looks at the figures, and if you follow the debate, it is a parliamentary committees which actually come up with the figures of the budget. Yes.
As you say that, we can't run away from the fact that the heads of these committees are highly political appointments. Right? That the previous head of the budget committee is actually in Parliament today complaining about some of the budgetary allocations that have been made. The current head of the budget committee can also be seen as a highly political position. Now, how do you divorce the brick and mortar when it comes to the numbers that are needed to run the country and the position, which is why I asked about how is it a parliamentary budget? And you said, well, the committees are responsible for putting the numbers together. How do you divorce the brick and mortar where government needs money to do 1, 2, 3, and the leaning that a committee would take based on the fact that its head is a political position?
First, let's agree that not just in Kenya, but in all dispensations across the world, the budget is the budget making is a very political thing.
Yes.
Because the allocation of resources are very politicized process. And anyway, politics is a lot of times about sharing of resources.
Or taking
therefore, there was no time when there was no politics involved. What I want to say is that one of the ideas then, actually, in the new constitution was to make sure that the political inputs are there early enough, because there was no trust that the National Treasury will do the balancing act. Therefore, the political haggling for the Kenyan budget was made to be an early process. instead of an after process after the technical people have done the figures. But of course, in all these things, of course, the institutions work together. Parliament works with the National Treasury and so on. And of course, juxtaposed in all that is the president as head of state. Now we are not then talking about him even just being head of government; he's also head of state. So so there's these figures are worked out between all those parties, and it is never going to be a situation where everybody in fact, none of those parties probably happy enough with the budget. I think that's what I can say. Okay. Therefore, in a sense, also the budget also reflects the balances of power and so forth. Yes.
At the end of the line is as the reflection of balances in terms of power does exist, there is also the balance where Kenyans as well must get involved in the preparation of the budget.
Yes.
That is why the process starts in August and ends in perhaps June the following year. But in that process, then there is the component of Kenyans being involved that has always been a problem, where Kenyans say, we have not been involved as expected. Public participation has not met the threshold, according to us, for us to say we accept the process or not. Is that something that then gives credence to how politics is huge in the preparation of the budget, as opposed to wananchi as well being part and parcel of the process?
Okay. Of course, the issue of public participation is very much interested in our constitution, but it just made things a little bit more complicated. More complicated in the sense that even as we have public participation, let's not forget that Parliament actually represents the public. And that's why we elect leaders, okay, to go and represent our interest. So if the leaders have the trust of the people, public participation becomes a less debatable point. And I say that deliberately because, in all these other countries, when Britain, when America, when China, when Russia, when Germany are making their budgets, what you try to do in Kenya does not happen in those other places. And even in the countries of the region, it doesn't happen. Therefore, the whole issue of public participation partly has had to do with, restoring trust in the institutions, which is what I think was the aspiration of the designers of the Constitution. It was a part of bringing back trust to the whole process. Now, obviously, again, the issue is how extensive, how deep is public participation. It in itself is an expensive activity, not just in terms of money, but even in terms of the people who are supposed to do that process. But also, of course, the process, how effective is the process and so forth. So it is difficult to achieve, shall we say, total public satisfaction in terms of public participation. And as I say, it is really part of the unique complexities in the implementation of the Kenyan Constitution.
Should it worry those in power that Kenyans, despite having elected members of parliament to represent them in that house through delegated responsibility, that Kenyans don't trust these individuals to do a thorough job and demand to be in those spaces to look at the fine details that their elected members of parliament are working on? Why do I say that? Because Kenyans today will say these individuals have gone into a certain room to make decisions for us, forgetting that they are the ones who elected them. Does that paint a picture of lack of trust?
Well, it does. I think, to be honest, the absence of trust has less to do with the budget than more to do with how the budget is, people see the budget, resources being used and so forth. So it is more or less it is less of the process, but more so of the results that people expect out of the budget. And therefore, as I say, in the current prevailing environment, it may be that, again, in the kind of season we are in now, which is very political and toxically political, then, that mistrust is to be there. And of course, again, let's go back again to the whole issue of representation. Of course, there is parliament, and then, of course, there are these civil society organizations, okay? And because, of course, the ordinary person, other than when you people go on in the streets and start interviewing them, they don't really have a chance because even when we talk about the forums for public participation, you have to ask yourself who actually is got the moment to go there. It's not Wanchiko really or Otieno has really the opportunity, to go to that place in that town hall and make their voice heard. It would need, first of all, there would need to be more mobilization than happens at the moment. Number two, there would be need for more time. These people would need to be in account, for example, for a week, really to get enough of what you would call representative sample of people who are talking. So so it's a dilemma which I don't think is easy to address.
So going in, the people are not represented. Coming out of the thing, the people are not represented. So where exactly are the people represented? In a budget that is made by members of parliament whose primary role is to represent the people. This is vis-a-vis a conversation that is in the public at the moment, that the members of parliament that are currently in session are doing the bidding for the executive to a large extent. How do you play those things? Those are realities, and that's the thing about how government policy and politics play one against another.
Okay, sometimes we have to look at this lens. Parliament is an institution for democracy. Kenya did not invent democracy. Kenya has inherited democracy, and even you look at the constitution, we have copied many things from other dispensations.
Indeed.
But let us agree, even in a place like US, okay, the budget, if you look very clearly, it's not very different between Kenya and America in terms of how the budget issues go, because or in any country, even in Britain, there's always the ruling party with its members of parliament, okay? And that is how the democracy is supposed to work. Therefore, the ruling party with its parliamentary group, okay, generally speaking, drive the budget in any country.
Within the law.
Oh, within the law, for sure. Within the law, that is why the budget is going to be debated in Parliament, so that the Finance Act is moved. Now, within that law, to the extent that the ruling party has majority, and they have also the leadership of the country, in any country, then the budget is passed on the basis of that majority. That is the essence of democracy.
Yeah.
Yes.
When you talk about the budget and further implementations that would see then the budget come into effect, there would be, at the end of the tail, would be Kenyans being able to access services, so healthcare as stipulated in the budget, education as stipulated in the budget, which would be development as well as stipulated in the budget. But what Kenya has been treated to for a very long time has been, we have this budget, but nothing in that budget can we see on ground. We can't feel anything coming out of that budget. Is that a concern then? Because that would say is why Kenyans look at the process of making that budget and there is nothing to show.
Well, let me say, obviously, that is an extreme perspective. An extreme perspective is that, for example, you have all schools in Kenya, right? You have several million Kenyan children. I think more than 10 million Kenyan children in school. They have teachers who are in several 100,000. I think at the moment we have about 400,000 teachers. They are being paid from that budget. You have all those hospitals and so on. They may not be doing the perfect service, but they are also staffed with the nurses. They may not have all the medicine, but there is medicine. Okay? So, you cannot, and we are driving on roads built with Kenyan taxpayers' money, and they are being maintained by Kenyan taxpayers' money. There are many water systems which are operating in the country. Again, they are staffed, they have been developed. So you can only say it is not enough, but you cannot say nothing is being done with the budget.
Does quality, when it comes to budgets, matter? Because when, say, we have put in place budget, say, 800 billion shillings that goes into education.
Yes.
And these 800 billion shillings that goes into education, there is salaries where teachers, like you said rightfully so, are being paid.
Yes.
There is 100,000 teachers who are supposed to, say, be enrolled into the same, and based off the budget statement that was given, is they are supposed to be to be absorbed.
Yes.
If they are not absorbed according to the policy that we had, number one, all capitation that has been set aside that goes into schools and does not get there on time, there is pending bills in schools. Should that be a factor of concerns coming from Kenyans when they see they are being asked to pay for money for the children to be in school, despite of the fact that there is budget, there is allocation, just that money has not got into schools? Should that be a concern in terms of quality that we get from the budget?
For sure. Let's put it this way. And that is part of the reason why we have this performance and productivity conference. For sure, the money is there, the teachers are there, the nurses are there, the facilities are there, the water pipes are there, the water pumps are working, and so on. But we don't get the best out of those resources for many different reasons. But I think, again, if you think about it, it is not like our budget, even with the best of intentions, and that I'm expressing partly as a personal view, for the things which our constitution promises all Kenyans, for the things which we politically pledge to all Kenyans, we don't have sufficient public resources. That is a simple truth. And therefore, there will always be gaps in terms of service delivery here and there. But the challenge for us is for those resources which we have, human and non-human, financial and human and other resources, the most important thing is for us to make the best use of those resources.
Are we?
We are not, which is why we have the National Performance and Productivity Conference this week.
What are the reasons why the resources that are available in Kenya are not being used optimally for government policy and implementation?
There are many reasons. One is that you need good systems for service delivery.
Okay.
And having those good systems for good service delivery, it is personnel. It is the modalities by which those personnel will be applied. It is the facilities which complement that personnel. So, for example, it is one thing having a doctor and then that doctor not having a stethoscope. There was a time when Kenya was very bad. Doctors had not stethoscopes, but these days they have stethoscopes.
Thank God for some mercies.
I still can remember those times myself. So it is bringing all those things together and planning on how using them you are going to do the best with the resources you have to deliver services. And the process of getting all those things together, if one of them is not there, for example, therefore, if you have doctors and nurses and so on, and hospital facilities, but then also you have not given them a reasonable complement of medical supplies. Are we together? Then obviously that doctor and that nurse is not effectively utilized.
Okay.
They are not as productive as they can be. On the other hand, if that doctor is that nurse, although you are paying them to be in the office, they are not in the office, then also you not get the results that you want to have.
So these things are known, right? These things that you talk about. Improper, use of resources that are available, lack of, resources to do certain things. And in this case, I mean, what you've mentioned, people just not showing up in the office, those are problems. So what we are saying essentially is that there are known problems as to why a 4.82 trillion shilling budget that was announced last week will not be properly implemented in the next year. They are known. These issues are known. They're known.
They are known.
Okay.
They are known. Two things. First is that, partly the public service represents also what is partly in the society in which we operate in. So, but also partly it has to do with the problems which have cropped up, what I would call maladies, which have cropped into the public service over time. And it is not unusual that things go well and then the things don't go well. So the problems are known. The remedies are not, unfortunately, they are not a single bullet activity that you can say, let it happen, and it happens.
But why? I'm sorry. I want to understand, because we're talking about where the rubber meets the road here. This is bread and butter. Because here we are saying that we see the reasons that people who are not willing or ready, because you talk about political will, to get something done. And we can see the problem. We are looking at the problem. But we're still saying, well, perhaps there needs to be another, intergalactic panacea to sort out this thing, where there are people seated who can solve a problem. You've mentioned systems. Well, systems are created and maintained by people. So what is the problem in saying, well, here's something that has not worked? And I think we try to complicate it sometimes without just looking at it simply and saying, this thing is not working under this individual or this set of people. But we seem to want to romanticize the idea of something going bad, and then we can say it's gone bad. But here it says a place for implementation, and we just can't seem to do it and want to just wallow around in that problem like a pig in the mud. Why?
First, because I think the solutions are a little more complex. I mean, I think you are seeking for a simple solution, but there is no very simple solution. First, let's take the people themselves, okay? You got to get them in a situation where they have an incentive, they have a sense of either their culture or the incentives and sanctions you put on them. Make them, for example, those who don't go to work in good time, go to work in time. Okay, one thing. And I think you have seen the minister for public service the other day, Honorable Okoh, going around a place and finding nobody is in the office or two officers in the office in our establishment. So that is first thing. The second thing is that these people, as I said, have got to have very clear targets of what they need to achieve. But for them to achieve also, you need to have a carrot and stick for them in sanctions, incentives.
To do their job, if they're not doing it for free, to do their job, must you incentivize people to do their job?
Part of the reason you work to do your job today were two reasons. One was you have the motivation to do this job yourself. You are happy to come to this office. Are we together?
Well, the jury is still up, but okay.
And number two is that also you are compensated for being there. Are we together? So that what we are talking about is making sure that they have the motivation, they have every reason, therefore, to have the discipline to work. That is one aspect of it. That discipline has also to do with the culture in the organization and so forth. So those are issues which have to be addressed. But let's then go to the second thing about the systems. Okay, you probably have been doing something using, old systems. New systems require new technologies need new facilities and so forth. It is not such a serious problem now, for example, getting computers in the West. But we have come a long way to a point where, for example, everything was manual and everything was computers. So those things don't happen overnight. They take time to happen. Then, of course, even then with a human person, with a facility and so forth, you probably need day-to-day complementary resources. If it is health, you need day-to-day complementary resources in terms of medical supplies, for example. If it is teaching, in that classroom, there are things which you need. The children themselves need maybe also to be helped to come to school and have the discipline to do it, and so there are quite a number of things you have to look at. And the key thing is for those who are managing those funds, those facilities, those who are managing the staff, for the staff themselves, all those people have to gel into an organization which actually performs to deliver what the resources have been budgeted for.
When you look at the public service sector, there is equally the private and corporate life that there is in the country, where the things that you just mentioned, where you have to show up at work, there is compensation at the end of it all, you must want to come here. There is check-in and check-out facilities that a cabinet secretary will have to go to stations to encourage people to come to work. That goes to show that perhaps then value for money is not being received from the end of Mwananchi, because if someone doesn't come to work, what do? You get rid of them. You get people who want to work, and that would be a conversation in the country today, that we know there are problems. Individuals don't show up, that we have to show up to encourage them to come to work. One would say we're shooting ourselves in the foot, because we are wasting time on things that we have solutions for. It is not rocket science. And even then, when we talk about public participating in all these issues, I will give you an example. When a certain lady set up a portal where Kenyans could have discussions, the members of parliament, and give their views on public participation, it is still the very same government that went and shot down that idea. She was arrested. So in all this, then one asks the question, is there political goodwill in ensuring that even when we have budgets and implementations of the same, that Kenyans get value out of that?
And well, that issue about political goodwill, my view, and it is reflected by what you just said, the minister is going to check whether office, staff are in office. So I don't think we can question the issue of political goodwill to get services delivered. Okay? I don't think we can, because that's why the minister left Nairobi and went to a remote, relatively distant county from Nairobi, okay, to check whether people are working.
Were those people let go, or are they still in the system?
Now, let go is a very simple thing in private sector. But the public sector, people have quite some insulation from, because also of course, again, the issue of trust, that, if you left it to politicians, people might be sacked who should not be sacked. And therefore, there is insulation. There is a process by which you would have to get a public servant off the payroll and so forth. But also, by the time you are getting him off the payroll, you had better be sure that the next Kenyan you get is of a better culture and better discipline than the one who you are sacking. So probably it is better to see how best you can get the ones who are there now to work well.
CPA, are we giving excuses for bad culture to continue in public sector systems? Because that right there is an example of why job is not done. Are we giving excuses with political undertones for things that honestly shouldn't just happen, especially in public sector?
No, we are not giving excuses. The reason why we have a performance and productivity, national performance and productivity conference this week is because we cannot afford those excuses. That for Kenya to achieve socio-economic transformation at an acceptable rate. We have to change the way we are doing things. We have to make sure that we are more productive. We have to make sure that that budget actually delivers to Kenya on a socio-economic transformation trajectory. Therefore, there are no excuses. Therefore, in the conference, we are going to talk about the culture of public servants and what do we need to do to address it. In the conference, we are going to talk about how do we set targets, how do we ensure that we hold public officers accountable for delivery against the resources that have been provided for them. And those deliverables, not in terms of the fact that they have spent money and they have gone to this and that activity, but actually because we can see there are real improvements in the services which are provided to Kenyans. And therefore, setting targets for them, getting sure that those targets are realistic, that they are not just, written on paper, but they are real, and we hold them accountable for those resources. So essentially, the sense of the conference we are going to is to actually to address the concerns which we are putting up.
Right. So the budget process starts around the 30th of August, and it goes well through until April. And so and we know that the budget then is delivered and implemented through the different government departments, otherwise known as ministries. Yes. And under those ministries, there are state departments divided, and that's how everybody gets their work done.
Yes.
Now the budget seeps through all of this.
And then the county governments, the county governments also, some of them have also ministries and agencies.
And that's why they have their CACs and such.
Correct.
Now, these departments submit budgets to their ministries of what they want to do in the next year.
Yes.
These are what are taken to Treasury. Treasury now crunches the numbers, they figure it out, and that all comes together to form the budget statement.
Right.
That's the work essentially that they're going to do for the next fiscal year.
Right.
What happens when, as is a lot of times the case, when the money that has been requested and essentially approved by the very fact that the budget statement has been given, then does not reach these line ministries?
Let me say, it may not reach, the total amount may not reach the ministries if there is a revenue shortfall. Are we together? If there is a revenue shortfall, then all the money cannot get there. And sometimes also, as you have seen often, sometimes the money is not collected in good time, and therefore there are delays in dispersing that money. Those are issues, of course, which are also pertinent to the whole issue of how the budget is implemented.
So what happens?
What happens, of course, to the extent that they haven't received the money, it means, therefore, then they don't do what was expected of them. And unfortunately, if they haven't also received the money, it means, therefore, they are not being utilized. The money we are paying them is not being well utilized because it means they are not as active as they are supposed to be.
So efficiency is unmet.
Yes, so that is why it is important that everything works in the unison, in a harmonious way, in a coordinated manner. That if you have got staff, you've got to give them the facilities. You've got to give them the budget. You've got to give them the resources to make sure that they provide.
Okay. Is there the acknowledgement of two things? Number one, debt and corruption, which are the two stifling vices towards a revenue problem that Kenya has at the moment. Play this vis-a-vis the efficiency problem that's obviously one that is brought about by the lack of resources that you mentioned. That without those two things, do you see the possibility of there being adequate resources to get the job done and to meet efficiency, which happens to be one of the first things that you mentioned when we started to speak?
You said the corruption and?
Debt.
Now, debt cannot be put in the same context with the corruption.
Why not?
Debt is to do with the money which you have taken, and ideally you should have used it to invest in the facilities which make the economy perform better. Are we together?
Yes.
So, so it is not a question of avoiding debt. It's a question of taking debt and using those resources
for the right purpose.
Now,
allow me to show you where then I make the connection between the two.
Yes.
Because if you borrow money, as Kenya has allowed you to do constitutionally, and it is applied to the wrong purpose, which is not development or meeting a budget shortfall in the short term, then you have abrogated the law. The same thing you have done with corruption, where you have taken money that was meant for a particular thing and you have diverted it. So those two vices, borrowing illegally, because when you take money for a development project and it doesn't go to that development project, it has gone to the wrong place, yes? I'm just assuming that it's illegal, or is it okay?
That to me, what you are describing is also a form of corruption. Because, of course, if the money has been diverted, it can only be diverted.
I'm glad we are together.
It's criminal, in fact.
Absolutely.
Are we together?
100%.
Okay.
So how do you deal with those two issues vis-a-vis the efficiency problem that you had previously mentioned?
I'll say this to you from a personal perspective. The problem of, as I said, therefore, let us agree, diversion of money and corruption are sisters. They cannot be, they are the same thing, two sides of the same coin.
Okay.
Are we together?
Yes.
This is a problem which has to, I would say, corruption, I think everybody agrees, is endemic in this country, especially in the public service. And there has to, for Kenya to move forward at the necessary rate of socioeconomic transformation, this has to be addressed. Now, how it is to be addressed is, we have institutions which are supposed to address it. And they probably would be best positioned to, EACC should be best. That's why we have EACC anyway. EACC is the one which needs to help us to address this problem.
Okay.
And I think I should not attempt to, to substitute for the thing which I suppose goes on a daily basis within EACC on how to address the problem of corruption.
Yep.
But it is endemic, and it is a problem which Kenya has to address for sustainable socioeconomic transformation.
When it comes to the development of the budget, you find every other agency and ministry is given the allocation or proposals on how they would be funded. But here we are talking about now the appropriation and the disbursement of these funds. You find there is an agency, there is a government-aligned ministry that said we need X amount for us to be able to do XYZ. Then you have another institution within the same government who have spent all their funds, they've asked for supplementary, and they have been given. Is there fairness in the implementation of this budget when you have a line ministry that has not received their allocation, yet you have a ministry that has overspent and are even asking for supplementary? Is there fairness in the implementation of the budget?
It can happen for many different reasons. And it is not always the case, so I'm not going to say it is legitimate in every case. But, but in any government it can happen. For example, if we during the COVID, let's say for example, okay, obviously there was need to move resources from some line ministry so that they could handle the crisis that we had. But also it can happen in terms of many strategic considerations, even short-term strategic considerations. For example, you are planning to do roads infrastructure, okay? And at the same time, you also plan to do water supply system, okay? Then there are problems, say, in the procurement process and so forth. and certain projects don't take place because they have not been prepared for, then obviously you can use those resources to do something else. So the problem is not the issue of, because as I said, it's not like for anything, almost anything that we want to do in this country, we have enough resources. Therefore, there can always be something else to be done with the money instead of it lying idle.
How fair is it when you see there is a department that has been given, say, extra allocation for entertainment and traveling, when there is an agency somewhere that needs money, say, to buy drugs? Where is fairness in implementation of that budget?
I think traveling is one thing, entertainment is another. I would like to separate the two. I would like to think that nobody is going to be denied money so that others can entertain. That would be unethical, to say the least.
Yeah.
But I think, if you are traveling to look for resources, okay, which are not available, then of course, if the budget for traveling to look for those resources is not available, then, and that, the budget is not actually sometimes, in certain ways, it is not very different from the way we manage our own personal resources at a personal level. That, that now, this money was going to pay part of the first installment of fees, but you need to do something else so that the money will be available to pay the food fees for the term. Then you can also therefore do an adjustment.
Okay. So this week, you look into how efficiency is going to then be mapped and actually ensured, at least for the next 12 months coming in from the 1st of July. What are your hopes for the year? I'm not even talking about the hopes for the conference. What are your hopes for the year that you can actually see that this is actually done as the committee and other committees that sit?
First of all, in the context of the National Performance and Productivity Conference, we are not looking at things only in the context of the next 1 year. We are thinking what Kenya needs to achieve in the next 5+ years. Because, as I said, there is no magic bullet to the transformation of the public service to perform better, to be more productive. It's going to take time. But what we anticipate is that in the coming financial year, we will start having better planning for the use of resources. And therefore, what we want officers not just to tell us that, say like in education that, we distributed resources to the for education. We want to also to have a sense that actually that we have planned that students are going to be more in class and they are going to be taught better.
Amen. Okay.
That is what we call outcome.
Okay.
And that the children out of those classes have better literacy than they had before.
Yes.
So that is what we call those resources, we call those outcomes. As opposed to saying, you have used the money to do this and this, but we don't know whether they have brought us any results.
Indeed.
So one of the things which we are pushing for now is to go to a situation where public resources, the human resource, the facilities, the materials that are available from the budget that is provided are being seen in the context of actual improvements in the services that Wananchi have received.
That's one thing that everybody is looking for. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. CPA Kithinji Kiragu is the chairperson of the Intergovernmental Relations Technical Committee and has been our guest this hour for us to look at some of these pertinent issues. Asante sana for being here.
Nashukuru sana pia. Thank you very much for this morning.
Good morning. Some minutes past 9.
The latest news from around the world. 94.4 Spice FM.
Good morning. This is the Newswire. I'm Edwin Lisamira. State House spent 11.6 billion shillings in the first 9 months of the 2025-2026 financial year, according to the latest National Government Budget Implementation Review report released by the Controller of Budget. According to Controller of Budget Dr. Margaret Nyakango, the budgetary allocation to State House in the 2025-2026 financial year amounted to 8.58 billion shillings compared to 12.07 billion shillings allocated in the 2024-2025 financial year. The report showed that the coordination of State House functions consumed 11.3 billion shillings, while the administration of statutory benefits for retired presidents and deputy presidents cost 283.8 million shillings. The government cannot bring up your children, Interior CS Kipchumba Murkomen has told parents amid rising cases of school unrest across the country. Speaking at AIC Plainsview South Beach Church on Sunday, Murkomen said children are now vulnerable to influence from digital platforms because parents cannot offer moral guidance as they are too busy. The result, Murkomen said, many children are poorly equipped to navigate the demands of today's society.
You are busy with your job, you are busy with everything, thinking that paying school fees ends your responsibility to take care of your child. Unknown to you, your child is being brought up by another child who has personal challenges. So another generation of Gen Z is bringing up your child who is a Gen Z. And you are hoping that school will take care of it. You will blame him. Only for you to realize that that teacher there, because first of all, as a parent of my generation and around our age, you don't want your child to be reprimanded, you don't want them to be sent home, you don't want them to be given punishment, you don't want them to do homework, you want to negotiate everything with your child and the teacher to negotiate with them.
Murkomen also criticized parents blaming government institutions for youth misconduct, saying they should instead reflect on their role in shaping their children's behavior.
We as the parents, because we are not willing to face our failures and we are not willing to face our wrongs, we now look for someone to blame. And the easiest person to blame is to ask, where is the Minister of Security? Where was he? Where is the Minister of Education? Where was the teacher? Where is the government? The government cannot bring up your children. The government cannot take your children to Sunday school. They cannot read the Bible to your children at home. They will not teach good manners to your children.
The National Cohesion and Integration Commission has condemned the attack at Oil Sands Cathedral, where goons disrupted a post-budget conference. NCIC Chairperson Kefo Mai said any attempt to disrupt lawful gatherings or silence differing opinions through intimidation or violence is a direct affront to the Constitution and the democratic values that bind our nation together. He emphasized that political competition should be guided by ideas, policies, and respectful debate, not coercion, violence, or fear. He urged young people not to allow themselves to be used by politicians to cause chaos.
Differences in political opinion should never justify acts of aggression or intimidation. The National Cohesion and Integration Commission urges young people not to be exploited for political violence or criminal activities. Kenya's youth are a vital force of innovation, peace, and nation building. Their energy and leadership should be directed towards strengthening democracy.
9 people have been killed and several others injured in a wave of Russian strikes on Ukraine, during which a major religious landmark in Kyiv caught fire, reports say. 4 people were killed in attacks on Kyiv, while 5 rescue workers died trying to put out a fire caused by a Russian strike on the northeastern city of Kharkiv, Ukrainian officials said. The 11th century Domitian Cathedral was significantly damaged in what Ukrainian Prime Minister Yulia Sviridenko called a, quote, brutal attack on our people and our heritage. Meanwhile, a Ukrainian drone attack in the Russian city of Tula, south of Moscow, killed 3 people and wounded 3 others, including a 1-year-old, officials said. That's the Newswire. I'm Edwin Lisamira.
94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
I am also a publicly elected official.
Okay.
My salary is paid by your taxes.
Yes.
So if you need me to answer questions, we will not run away from you.
Asante
We will
sana.
always be here.
The government itself is engaging in corrupt practices. That the government itself deliberately schemes to influence through bribery members of parliament.
You pay for a passport online. Alafu you're told there are no booklets.
I rebuke matters corruption because corruption has brought this country to its knees.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
Members of parliament, they go to set house, they just promised they get given tea, mandazi, and 100,000. That's not development.
External borrowing, 589 billion. Are we on the same page? What did Parliament pass?
If anything happened to our president today, God forbid, that man would become president. Na ndio alilenga hizo stories za Shakahola.
The real thing is our constitution has only one person who is accountable to us.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
Baba should disown these experts and they say they went there on the because he keep on telling us that these experts just you came from Dubai and you found them they're already at State House looking for jobs.
Government has to has to introduce austerity measures. It's something that this government and the previous ones have not been able to do in this country. We've talked about it so many times.
And really, I think you have seen the modus operandi of William Samoei Ruto since he came in. It's just showbiz.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
And our conversations continue this hour when we get back into it. And it's about that time, 9 minutes after 9 o'clock on a Monday morning, where we start asking questions about whether you are okay. Today, Mr. President, that we're going into right about this hour to find out what's going on with you. But there's an element of power that Dennis Aseto has been delivering already this morning.
Yes. You know, when I was doing my car shopping, the first thing that you have to ask yourself now, with all the technology that comes with modern cars, right? Do you have sufficient power for all that? Because we live at a time where if you have gone for your shopping, right? And you come with your luggage, you want to put it in your trunk. Not boot, trunk.
Sorry.
You want to put it in your trunk. How do you access it when all your hands are filled up? You know, you just swipe under your bonnet and it opens up. You know, if it goes, if it's because you're in an SUV and you want to lower the back of it, what do? It's just a button. And with all that, you talk about power that is enough to power all these systems that you are talking about. Assuming it's at night and you want to show off that I'm a Nduh, right? So you open your vehicle as well and there it beams on the floor, I am Nduh, to just show off because you can.
Wow.
You need a battery that will be able to do all that. And Matrix from Exide is here to ensure that you are able to do all that free of stress, because the batteries that you get from them, from chloride dioxide, comes with 18 months warranty where you're able to drive and just be sure that everything will work because it is meant to. So what you need to ask yourself now, who are you partnering with? You are partnering, or you are buying the battery from a supplier who's been in the market for 6 decades,
right?
You know, so that comes with assurance, it comes with guarantees, and it comes to ensure you that even when you're doing Nairobi, Mombasa, or you're even going to Uganda or Congo, you know, and you're not going to, you know, you're sure that your battery will get you there
and it's taken
easily
care of.
and is taken care of. that is where you need to go. Chloride Exide is ensuring that Exide Matrix is there to serve all your vehicle's purposes.
Fantastic. That's how we're getting powered this week. Kavisa. Dear Mr. President, you're going to hear from Kenyans this morning because they want to tell you a thing or two. And there's a question about how they're doing. And somebody actually, this came in our minds the other day when somebody said, you know what, it's about time you ask Kenyans if they were okay. It's not lost on us that actually June is Men's Mental Health Month, and that there is a month like that is very interesting, first of all. And so those are some of the questions that we're asking. So, it's just also hear the heartbeat of the people. The president, very spirited on Friday, said that, I'm here for you. He said this, I'm here for you. Everything that we do is for that. May have had some other choice things to say, but he was clear in his assertions that he's here for the Kenyan people. Well, here's an opportunity for you to say whether you're okay or not. But many things have been happening over the last couple of weeks. There was a preparation towards the budget. Unfortunately, it's very, very difficult funeral service that took place on Friday for some of those young girls who died in the Utumishi Academy fire. That also happened. The budget's been read, so you get an idea of what's going to happen in the next 1 year as concerns your money for the country, where it's going to come from, how you're going to actually spend it. So that comes into play. So it's been a busy couple of weeks where that has all happened, whereby you're still in the throes of the preparations towards an election and how that's all going to play out. But then we sometimes forget that the Kenyan who makes up these decisions, that it's for everybody seems to be performing for your audience, you as a Kenyan. And so the question is at this point, are you okay? There are many things that are clashing at the same time, from economics to mental health to education issues. And then that notwithstanding, we had a number of schools closed down, and then really what's the situation? And I just listened to C.S. Murkomen, who said, you know what, can't blame the government or teachers. Parents have failed their children. He said parents have failed their children, families have failed their children by not bringing them up properly and saying that you don't want them to be disciplined. So that's a conversation that's taking place. So this past couple of weeks, we've had subjective conversations around how family responsibilities then being applied to students who may cause a ruckus in school here or there. So there are quite a number of things on your plate, folks. And the question is, are you okay? If you're not, we want us to tell you, we want you to tell us. If you are, we want you to tell us that as well. And what is it that is making you not okay or okay? Yeah. And there seems to be a lot to then be able to handle. So we really want to hear from you this morning. I found that the default answer for a lot of people is Nikotu.
Nangangana.
Exactly.
Ngwana saidia. And
if you get to a place or a point where that has to be the answer, perhaps there's something that you definitely need to look into. So we're going to hear from you guys this morning at some point, but also going to hear from you on our socials on YouTube, Facebook, and on X. It's a Dear Mr. President morning. He's also said that he's been out of the country fighting for Kenyans. He's been out of the country fighting for the economy of the country to make sure that, you can get into partnerships that are actually going to move the development needle. So he's been out doing the work. And I also just, little snapshots that we're getting here. Dr. Mercy Mwangangi gave an interview, or she gave a quick meeting last week, and she said, you know what, ever since I joined this thing as a CEO, the white hair on my head has almost covered the entire surface area because of stress.
Yeah.
She's had a difficult time then to just be able to put one foot in front of the other. And she has expressed this overtly to say that this has been the problem. So it seems to be across board, guys.
If someone was to ask you this morning how you are, how would you respond? How are you? I'm asking.
I'm fine. I don't even have to think about the answer, but you almost give it automatically because you don't have time to just even start to say, okay, so this is the problem, and perhaps this, and perhaps I need to sort the other thing out. So where's the mind of the Kenyan at this moment? In all of the things that we see playing out? There can be the politics of the day where everybody rallies around. Do Kenyans still want a change, or has everybody kind of settled into the thing where you're like, okay, you know what? We can just kind of get along and we'll be fine. Do people still have the gusto for change that they were thinking about before, where we actually need something to change? Or are we have Kenyans said, you know what? It's okay. Well, we'll be okay. We'll figure it out as we go along, but there's no problem. Are Kenyans still in a place of eternal vigilance where you say, no, this cannot be the case, we have to fight at every moment? Or are Kenyans now settling into a lull where anything that happens, you kind of just take it and you're okay with it so long, and you're okay? We're hearing from you this morning, and we need you to talk to us and let us know just how it is that you are doing. 0723-143-650, 0732-142-653. We'll hear from you this morning, as well as just look into a couple of these matters this morning. When we say some of the things that actually might be affecting Kenyans, what are we hearing, Dennis?
You know, it is about the basics pretty much that many want to deal with on a daily basis. So it's about healthcare. When you go to hospital, are you able to get that? It's about security. Many Kenyans are grinding and hustling out here. And on a normal day, when someone is walking around Kenyatta Avenue, going about their business, goons show up, attack a church, which is a sacred place. You know, if you just follow through the history of All Saints Cathedral, when it protected individuals when they were being attacked by the powers that be back in the days, and you see a repeat of that. That alone is trauma to the church. But there are Kenyans as well who were just doing their business. There's a lady who was walking around Kenyatta Avenue that day, and she just stood there, froze. These guys came, stole everything, and left her on the ground, just seated there not knowing what to do. And you see, this is another story that we keep on seeing every other day with political rallies today. You find businesses are closed. Why? Because you're not sure who has carried what goon, or what goon has been sent to fight the other side. Case in point, what happened in Kakamega. You know, many questions are being asked out here, including value for money, our children in school, how safe are they?
Yeah.
You know, and a lot more that must be addressed. Today, we're also addressing issues to do with ID cards. What does that mean for us and our sovereignty?
Absolutely.
You know? Yeah.
Are you okay? That's the question that we're asking this morning. And we want you then to be able to talk to us on 0732-142-653 or 0732-142-650. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Very well, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
Please tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Yeah, my name is Wilson. I'm coming from Kakamega.
Okay, talk to us. Are you okay?
Yes, so far, but I think there are a number of issues that raise a bit of concern.
And what are those?
On the security issue, I want to believe that the whole purpose why we pay for security enforcement agencies like police, DCI, and all these things that go with it, IPO and such, is such that we should have institutionalized professional people who are employed in government and accountable, maintaining law and order. Unfortunately, this is getting completely out of hand because, and even if the government was to try and tell us its stories, how come we have never had goons attack the president's meetings, or because they don't care, they are just basically interested in dealing with anybody who is having political issues. How come they never attack government supporting programs, but they are always attacking the opposition? Instead, the minister keeps giving all sorts of excuses and talking a lot of things which don't even make much sense. Now, that's an area I'm thinking the president is failing, because if truly the president is supposed to be the arbiter for all Kenyans.
Yes.
Why is he seeing some Kenyans being molested and he's okay? Because Israelis are not touched, and his ministers are not touched, and his two-term brigades are not touched. I think that is an area he cannot run away from blame. The thing I would want to talk about is about his foreign trips. John Pombe Magufuli was president for Tanzania, and in 5 years, he made 8 trips.
John Pombe Magufuli made 8 trips in 5 years.
In 5 years. Incidentally, the economy of Tanzania narrowed in terms of size, narrowed against the Kenyan gap by 15%. So we ask ourselves, what is the return on investment on these trips that the president keeps making, and more so on luxurious personal private jets? How is this? How do you go begging and you're going with a whole chartered aircraft and you're begging for less money than what you're spending on your whole entourage? Does it make really sense? I think these are areas that the president, we are all going to school and we understand what it means. So he should not continue misusing taxpayers' money to just have rides abroad, because you see he grew up in Kenya and he has never been abroad for many years. So he thinks he wants now to have a big bite at it to compensate for the years he was not going abroad, because he was probably not a very rich person. But he's taking us for a real ride. I'm sorry.
I hear you. Thank you very much for your call this morning. And I hear where the pain points are for sharing, and the problem shared is half solved, as they say. So thanks for joining us.
If you can allow me, please. The same money he takes, he keeps dishing out on political rallies. Really, how is this helping the economy? Sorry.
Asante sana. Coming in from Kakamega this morning, just to hear from folks about how you okay as a security issue that's come in, and some issues that, they're spoken about in public, but then you want to ask yourself, okay, so where do people actually sit on that? Fiery Red says this morning that he has an issue being taxed, and then you don't actually see the result of that tax. And that also, Smokey says everybody wants a change, but nobody really knows what change they actually want. You're not sure of the things. Is that the case? You don't know what change that you want. You see things perhaps going south, but you're not sure how you're going to actually get them to start to look up. It was interesting because just having that conversation with the chairman a few minutes ago, then I realized that we're rarely hitting the nail on the head. Rarely. We want to talk around and dance around issues, but we're not hitting home base. Nope. We are not taking this thing to third base. We just seem to, flirt with the idea of wanting to do better, but not. Can you imagine that this day and age, you have to call a conference so that you can now tell people, excuse me,
you need to get to work early.
Or that you need to come to work at all. I don't know. But
that we need to have a discussion that you've actually abrogated your contract of not coming to work, and we need to have a discussion around it. Simply because I'm not sure that the next person who comes in will not repeat the same thing. I'm going to fire everybody, and even if it means reporting.
Report.
Because at the end of the day, you need work to be done.
Very true. Hold on to that thought, because we have another call. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Please, please tell us your name and where you're calling in from.
I am James.
Yes, James.
I'm calling from Ruiru.
From Udhiru?
Ruiru.
Oh, Ruiru. Okay. Okay, please. Tell us, are you okay?
Yeah. Actually, I'm not okay.
Why so?
Let me speak in Kiswahili. Kama mwananchi wa kawaida.
Hakuna shida.
Cash flow iko chini. Previously kulikuanga na kazi mtaani, so the cash flow was a bit good back then. So like president say akona pride, like hawezi fanya the same things Uhuru alikuanga nafanya. So I had a project I was doing previously. Nilikuanga nataka ku create a mini industry in Nyahururu. So that project got stalled because even now I cannot manage the basics because like there's no cash flow, and wale wanatusumbua kwa kazi ni kanjo, and there's no hakuna watu wa kuwa oversight. Like the police wako na ipoa, kanjo hawana watu wa oversight. That's why wako na kiburi, and I think things are going backward as it is now. And I think it's about time President aangalie watu wa chini, because at this time ana manage watu wako juu, like kama watu wa devki najiulizanga at the same time, like in this moment nitafikia aje huyo mtu, and I'm the indigenous native wa hii country, lakini huyo ni muhindi. I'm trying to create something. I'm trying to create something like him, niko at least on a company, lakini unaona like I'm not asking for handouts at this new fund or whatever. I have the skills, the brains, but unaona cash flow inakuwa a bit challenging. Yeah, I think things are bad now.
I hear you, and it's even as you say this, I think about the people who would that you speak of. Umesema hana wakati ya watu wa chini, but that is what this is the promise on the election, or rather during the campaign period before 2022, that it was watu wa chini, and by they would get the most attention from this government. Do you feel as though that was done?
No. Actually, there's a big problem, because first of all, we need oversight here, Kanjo, these county council people, and secondly, I think the president don't trust the people at the bottom. I think he sees us like we don't have the brains to manage our funds and to give us growth.
Just hang on a minute, James. And did you feel differently 4 years ago, before the election in August 2022?
Yeah. There was Did
you feel differently than how you feel now about what the government president feels about Watu wa chini?
4 years ago, I had the hopes about this government. But as we went along, I think things went a bit sour. I don't know what happened, but most of the what is it? Most of the projects which were initiated by back then Uhuru was scrapped away. Like the Linda Mama, that Kazi Mtaani, the things which were protecting the common mananchi. They were not protected. The civil servants did not protect the what? How could to protect the here place here too where we were?
I hear you.
Yeah. So I think things are bad now.
All right. Well, James, thank you for sharing, and just to be able to understand that the change that you're looking for is one that would actually lift you out of the current situation to the next. That's the change that you're looking for.
Yeah. Mainly cash flow. The cash flow is so bad.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Thanks for your call this morning and for contributing to this conversation. We need to keep plugged in so that we can understand what it is that everybody is fighting for. Asante sana.
Asante.
All right, let's hear from some more of you this morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Nduh and Dennis.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. My name is Kennedy. I'm calling from Nairobi.
Could you speak up a little bit, Kennedy?
My name is Kennedy. I'm calling from Nairobi.
Yes.
And all I can say, I can tell Mr. President that I'm not okay.
You're not okay. Why are you not okay?
Not very. Yesterday, you reduced fuel by 0.22 cents.
Yeah, those 22 cents, yes.
Yeah, and we'll see the government people now, they will be on platforms telling us how they've reduced fuel. The cost of living is unbearable right now. I think it's the highest it has ever been. Like the price, you cannot hear him now talking about the price of unga anymore. Because the price of unga right now is retailing at 160. Hata ile ya kupima watu wanashindwa kununua. And people are fighting to live day by day. Disposable income has become. I don't think there's anyone. And then I think this is the only government that has raided the middle class to the ground. The middle class wanasikia ni kama watafuatilia mambo ya serikali, but I think from now I think everyone will be involved. Yeah. No, apart from that, unapata shy funny. I think this country needs a reset button. Yeah. Everything is collapsing. Education, and now if the budget, they said that the biggest allocation is for education, yet capitation is not being spent for school, meaning they've budgeted that money for corruption, and probably even half of it will not go to the schools. We really need a reset button.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kennedy, for your call this morning and for contributing to this. But I hear you in terms of what you're saying to the president this morning. Asante sana.
Okay, thanks.
We're taking your calls this morning, 0732 142 653 or 0732 142 650. What is it that your thoughts are? Are you okay this morning? And that's it, Dennis, just like you were saying earlier. You talk about healthcare. This is what people are having an issue with. The things that, I don't know if it's crazy or an oxymoron, that or a paradox, that the very people for who the promise was made over and over again, the people of the country, not dividing people into social classes.
No. Kenyans.
The promises that were made to you are the things that you complain about today that have not been done. I read something the other day that if somebody has any part in messing something up, they should have no part in fixing it.
True.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Nduh.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you today?
I'm all right.
Yeah, mine is very short.
Please tell us your name, first of all, and where you're calling in from.
My name is Njeri. I'm calling from Dubai.
Okay. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to say, since the president had decided to be the diplomat number one, I think we should add him a title of Minister of Foreign Affairs, so that he reduces the burden of having a Minister of Foreign Affairs, because it seems like he doesn't trust anyone in that ministry. He can't trust the ambassadors. He can't trust the Prime Minister. You get my point?
Yes.
So he better take up the ministry, and then he'll be the diplomat number one. That's all for me. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your call in this morning, and hear from some others as well. Hello, good morning.
Hello, Nduh.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Dan.
Yes, Dan.
I'm calling from Nairobi.
Yes, Dan. Talk to us. Are you okay?
No, I'm not okay, because this government, first of all, is giving me a headache. You have it to me too. But first of all, let me comment on something.
Okay.
I was watching some TV channel today, and somebody who was being interviewed about goonism at ACK decided that goonism, those goons were sent by politicians, of whom he's one of. Secondly, he said that he blames ACK Church for getting into politics. The things Kenyans were debating on that day, there was no politician invited. It was about the budget which had been passed the previous day. Now him is blaming ACK for being the wrong place to discuss those issues. Kenyans are the ones who are passing these taxes that was read the day before. So they are not having a problem with just proposing the taxes, but they're having a problem with Kenyans debating on how this budget is. Thirdly, he was complaining about, this is the leader I'm talking about. He was complaining about the IDs thing and how the country is being auctioned security and everything about IDs. And he said something that Standard newspaper is a gutter press. Together with KTN. Because can you see how the photos of those people shown on the front? Why are we being profiled? Now, that is the kind of leadership that we have.
Yes.
He was diverting attention from everything.
From the issue.
From the real issues.
Yeah.
Anyway, the budget we will discuss whether they like it or not. Because it is supposed to be our budget, not theirs. We are the ones who are financing it anyway. We have to talk whether they like it or not. If they don't like it, they should just listen.
It's good that you speak. You can't keep quiet. You have to continue making your voice heard and known and your position known about some of these things. But thank you for contributing to that, because if anything, we will not, there are certain things that the people need to say that will be said. Asante sana for your call this morning.
Thank you.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning once again. My name is Luciano.
Yes.
I'm calling from Kakamega.
Yes.
I have another area I want to contribute to. On the issue of selling IDs.
Yeah.
National IDs.
Yes.
I want to call on my friend Kanjama, the president of the Law Society.
Yes.
To take courage and propose a legislation that could be debated in Parliament and passed. This legislation should provide condemnation in terms of people who cause Kenya, this element of they're like disloyal to the country. They betray the real soul of the country, so that these people become, what George Orwell was calling unperson. You unperson people. You create a situation where they are basically erased. Erased in terms of their name is removed from every official document. Any monument that bears their names is removed. The name is removed, defaced, so that they have no record in the country. And in that case, they will never again hold public office, because this the way we deal with or we sanction people who have the audacity to actually abuse this country to the highest level is to tell them that you go to court, and if you have the court rules in your favor, you are as clean as just water. I think I want to call on Kanjama, and if he can come to the show, and one day you open the lines, I would want to engage him.
Okay.
If they can propose a legislation that would make it so painful when somebody goes against the national soul. You see, the soul of the country is not about just patting people on the hand. No. This is something that is betraying the whole essence why even our fathers fought for independence. Thank you. I don't know if you can do that favor for me.
Thank you so much, Asante Sana, for your call. I mean, definitely for them to be engaged is one of the things that we will do. So thank you very much for that. Once again. All right. So we're hearing from you folks this morning. Let us know what your thoughts are. Are you okay? Is the question that we're asking. 0732 142653 0732 142650. Hello. Good morning. Okay. We lost that one, but let's hear from you as well. So keep calling in. Let us know what your thoughts are. Of course, looking into hear what you're saying on our socials this morning, but then also looking into the issue. So you imagine that while all of this is going on, and that while you have an opportunity to discuss issues or matters that concern you as a citizen, then anybody else can rock into the country and pay 15,000 shillings to then be able to get an ID. And so that in itself is no longer sacred, that if you have a few shillings, that you can actually make sure that that is done. All of these things are playing side by side in the continued, I guess, frustration of what people are feeling this morning. So somebody says, well, I'm okay. Generally, I'm okay. But then there's this pain point that I have, and that seems to be the conversation that people are having. And I'm still on that thing that if people want change, do we actually know the change that you want? Do you really know what it means to change? And I think that there have been people over the last couple of weeks who've had a conversation with us in this room and have said, you know what? You see that change that you're looking for? We're not talking about going into the room and changing your top to wear a different color. That the change that you're looking for is actually a rooted change.
Yeah.
The change that you're looking for is a systemic change. It's a people change. And you know what? More often than not, it is a painful change. It is going to hurt. It is going to be difficult. But until and unless you have decided that that is what you want, don't be talking about how you want it. True. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Hello, good morning. Please tell us your name and where you're calling in from.
I'm Falme Ukweli calling from Nairobi in Kahawa West.
All right. Please tell us, are you okay?
I am 100% not okay.
Why so?
Where do I start from? Let me start from the business aspect.
Okay.
Last year in March, I shut down my 17-year-old business.
Why?
No business, no customers. That has been the state of my business, my life. Wale customer wachache wanakuja, they are either bargaining most of the time, and the few the many I had disappeared. So as a father of three boys, you are in a situation where you don't know what to do next without a business, without income. You don't know if you should blame the government or the president. You don't know if you should blame the customers, or you should blame yourself. Yani, you are in a situation that you really do not know what to do.
Yeah.
And you want to blame yourself and think that you're the one who do not know how to maybe do business or live life like you should. But when you talk to a few people, you get the same feedback. Things are not okay.
Was your business your only source of income?
That was my only source of income, and I've been running it since 2008. So business.
So you closed it in March last year?
Yes.
What have you been doing to survive since March 2025 and now June 2026?
After shutting down my business, I have a few loyal customers who give me business here and there. So when I get the business, I collaborate with my network and maybe outsource the business. And the little business that I can do, I do it from the house. That's how I've been surviving. And also friends have come through for me here and there. That is my situation right now. It's not a good situation. I'm trying my best to see how to get out of this situation, but my mind has now turned blank. I think I'm not creative enough. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. But I'm here, and I'm not okay.
You see, you're doing a great job being there, being able to talk to us, being able to still push your hustle from home. And we just want to tell you, despite everything, just keep pushing, keep grinding. You never know when that star will shine again. So we just want to say thank you, and to also give you the hope and courage to just keep on keeping on, because Kenya ndio home. Hakuna place tunaenda. Let's just keep on keeping on.
Kweli. Hapa hatutoki.
Yeah.
Hapa tuna fight mpaka dakika ya mwisho. Since all of us cannot board flights and go to all the European destinations like our president, and since all of us cannot get handouts and those funds he's giving all over, we have to figure out a way to get out of this mess. And out of this mess, we will get out.
We will.
Thank you very much for your call this morning, and heads up, man. So
thank you, and thank you for the show.
Thank you very much. We continue our conversation, and also hearing from folks this morning who will call in and let us know what it is that they feel about how you're doing. So let's hear it this morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, this is Chris from Kisumu.
Yes, sir. Are you okay?
I'm not okay.
Why?
because they need the learned friends are using education to fight ignorance. Should it be so?
No.
Because now they are promoting ignorance instead of fighting it through education. And they have ignored many things, and they claim they went to school. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your call. I guess it's a one word that somebody has words to share. Thank you very much for your call. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, SpiceFM.
Yes, please. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Yeah, my name is Johnston from Mount Elgon, Okoh.
Yes, Johnston.
Yeah. Yes, I've been following the conversation. And currently, mimi ni graduate wa agriculture. And you know what? We are expecting jobs. Lakini rais akisema anaenda majuu kutafutia kazi. It surprises, you know. Kenya tuko na uwezo. We can actually create jobs here. We have enough land. We have water flowing from the sources to the, to lakes. We have no ability of tapping the water. At some point, we do things that benefit ourselves. In the case of politicians, Yeah, so basically, we are from this country, and in my opinion, Kenya will never be the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the truth. Even if we are going to get maybe somebody who is a holy person, a good Christian, but basically, we have a government that has set a very bad example at the moment. So, in my opinion, Kenya will never be the same. Kenya will remain to be a hell forever. Thank you.
Oh, no. Well, I mean, just a dose of possible positivity that it's possible that things can actually get better. And that's why you are engaged in this conversation this morning, to just be able to hear from you what your thoughts are really around how you're doing. That a lot of folks are sounding so broken this morning, and it just, yikes, it just doesn't feel so good to then be able to hear. But it is important that you let it out. It is important that you speak about it so that we hear what are actually the pain points, and that it is the fuel with which you insist that change can actually come about. Let's hear from you this morning. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning.
Yes, please tell us your name and where you're calling in from.
My name is Sami.
Can you please turn down the volume on your TV or radio?
Yes, I've turned it down. My name is Sami. I'm calling you from Masako.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I'm really glad to get through to your station today.
Thank you so much.
Yes. I say that at least I shout out to Nduh, Okoh, and to your fellow comrades, Latif, and all the others. Because I've been a fan of your station for many years.
Asante. So please tell us what your thoughts are.
Yes. Well, my thoughts are that we need to get the system back into order, because we are kind of like drifting to, what do you call it, to a society that is not moving in the right direction, if I might say. Yeah, because the vision should be like the way the president says, we need to go to Singapore.
Yeah.
And we don't want to instead be heading to Haiti. Yeah, so there's a lot that still needs to be done, especially on the ground level. Because the economy is really not an issue that we can see going on the right direction. Yeah, and as a fan of the station, I still also want to remind you people out there in the media that you need to continue being more aggressive and voice out this issue, shout out, keep shouting it out and keep talking about it, because you are the ones who can make a change as the society is going down the wrong direction. You're the ones who can be heard. You are our voice out there.
Asante sana.
Yeah, so don't be silent. Keep talking it out and keep voicing any of those issues we are facing. Yes.
Thank you very much, Sammy, and thank you for your call this morning, Asante.
I'm so grateful. I also have a good day. Say hi to the rest and shout out to them. And all the best. I want to visit you people one day. We chat a bit more.
Thank you very much, Asante sana.
All right, Asante.
All right, let's hear from some other folks this morning calling in. If it's our minutes wind down. Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you, Nduh and Aseto. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing?
Well, but I am Karaja Waweru from Bahati Nakuru.
Yes, Karaja. Please tell us, how are you feeling this morning?
I'm really angered as I speak right now, but first may I report that we are not receiving KTN TV signals in our place. Now I'm just getting you through the radio.
Okay.
When we come to today's issue, I'm feeling bad, really bad, because an institution is as good as its leadership. Kenyans are hard working, and all they need is to be given the right environment to make the country rich. You find that our leaders have become deities, small gods. They know everything. We only have to say, yes, sir, yes, madam. And yet, as they are saying the country is going well, why are they out always defending? Shah is doing well, the economy is doing well, this is the best president we have ever had among the other four. I would say this. The other thing that is annoying me is that we Kenyans, it's like now we are accepting whatever is happening and saying, wacha tuachie Mungu. And the country is being led back to the primitive times, and yet we thought we should be going to become a developed country with civilized leaders, civilized citizens, people who mean what they say and do. But that is not the direction we are going to. We are going in a direction where the leadership wants to make us so poor so that they can control us in any way they want. And I'm so sad that even the leaders, let's say the MPs and the other leaders, they are not doing anything without invoking the name of the president. You get a glass of water, na hii glass ya maji imetoka kwa president. Sijui nini, it's wrong. So I believe the country is not going in the right direction. And the saddest thing is that we don't have a leader who can mobilize the Wananchis. I believe the Wananchis are now ready to face the government head on, but we are lacking a leader. Otherwise, I'm so grateful with the KTN. You are doing a very good job, SpiceFM and so on, to educate us. And that's why they are shutting out the signals here.
Karaja, thank you very much. Thank you for your call this morning. Thank you so much for calling in. And, keep the faith one way to the next. Asante sana.
Waambie wataalamu wenu waturudishie signals za KTN TV.
We'll sort that out. Asante.
Good day.
Thank you. Cheers, you too. All right, a couple more of your calls we'll take this morning as we're hearing from you. No matter how you want to look at it, no matter what you want to say, if people are talking about the fact that they're not okay and that they're saying that they want to share how they're feeling, because a problem shared is a problem half solved at the very least, that across board people feel pressured. And just the gentleman who called a few minutes ago, James, to talk about the fact that your business shut down about a year ago, and just because there are no customers, so people don't have buying power anymore, to then be able to sustain your business. I mean, that's a tough one, and people want to actually find out, where you are and what it is that you are doing.
So maybe he could comment on our socials, just let us know. And perhaps maybe people will plug into your business and see how they can be of assistance, because you're doing business from home. Perhaps you can plug into it.
Who can actually plug into it? And I think you're at that point where people want to be one supporting the other, one person supporting the next, and then you start to actually move. So even before we went to that, looking at what actually change means, and I'm just looking at the different instances around the world where change happened. Never ever did it come like, silently, and then just you wake up in the morning and everybody says, there was change. No, that it was a painful, difficult process of change. And that, you can actually have change with the same person. You can have change with different people. You also actually are the one who takes on this change head on.
Yeah.
So when you talk about that you want something to be different, do you realize just what it means for you to then institute that change? So we've heard from a number of people this morning, people who are just feeling frustrated, others whose businesses have been affected, others who've said, you know what, I can't do this anymore. I feel as though, it's just a little bit too much, the things that you see. So people who generally say, yeah, I'm okay, but then what I see out here just doesn't work for me anymore. Dear Mr. President, that's what Kenyans are saying. For you to then be able to hear them and to hear it in the manner in which they're sharing it. This is what people are saying about how they feel about certain things, and to take those into consideration.
Nduh, when you hear Kenyans speak the way they speak, what they're pretty much telling you is, we want things to just work. They're actually wishing that they would be saying the opposite to you. They actually want you to succeed for them to have something positive for you for them to talk about. But this is the situation where we are. We've talked to close to 15 people. I've been taking the numbers. 15, including those on our socials. It doesn't look good. It does not look good. I know of an individual, I was having a conversation with them yesterday. Their company closed down. You know why? Taxes. You know why? Because of what we're seeing in the Middle East. And the owner of the business said it's expensive buying raw materials because getting it is a problem. Then taxation that has been levied on it becomes even extra for me, and have to close business because it doesn't make sense. The business now has gone to Rwanda. That individual, together with around 200 others, must now figure out how they're going to survive. The person I'm talking about is actually my sister.
You see, somebody that you know.
Yep.
This is what the conversation looks like this Monday morning, and we're just getting into things this morning, just starting off the week. Dear Mr. President, we'll usually do Monday morning for you to have an outlet, for you to talk about some of these things. Because pathetic or not, you can't control how people feel. And we'll talk about those things, and that's what we will do. We'll not shy away from doing that. Thank you for being in the Situation Room this morning. On this Monday morning, that's how we started the week. And let's look into some of these issues that we continue to discuss as we get into the week proper. Thank you for being here this morning. We hope that you do have a hopeful Monday as you get into it. We'll keep talking, definitely. Good morning. It's 10 a.m.
Spice up your life. The latest news from around the world. 94.4 Spice FM.
Good morning. This is the Newswire. I'm Edwin Lisamira. President William Ruto has ascended to the Division of Revenue Bill 2026. The signing at State House, Nairobi, has paved the way for the equitable sharing of national revenue between the national government and county governments for the 2026-2027 financial year. It follows successful mediation between the National Assembly and the Senate, allocating 428 billion shillings to counties. The National Assembly had proposed a lower ceiling of 420 billion shillings, while the Senate pushed for an allocation of more than 450 billion shillings, arguing that counties required increased funding to deliver devolved services effectively. PLP leader Martha Karua has said she's seeking the United Opposition's presidential ticket ahead of the 2027 general election. Speaking during a televised night interview, Karua insisted that she will not serve as a running mate. She, however, said she would support another flag bearer if not selected.
You can't hunt for candidates jointly. So although we belong to the United Opposition, we have taken time to market the People's Liberation Party, increase membership of the Liberation Movement, and ensure that we have enough candidates. I'll not be a running mate, but should somebody else, I'll do my best to be that United Opposition candidate, but should somebody else be chosen, I am willing to support them.
On Rigathi Gachagwa's eligibility to vie for the presidency in 2027 after the High Court upheld his impeachment, Karua said the former deputy president's eligibility to contest remains intact as long as all legal avenues of appeal have not been exhausted.
Before one exhausts